Act 1 of The Enchanted Cottage by Arthur Wing Pinero. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The persons of the play.
Oliver Bashforth, late Lieutenant, 8th Battalion Royal Regiment. Read by Greg Giordano.
Mrs. Smallwood, his mother, read by valroth.
Rupert Smallwood, his stepfather, read by Tomas Peter.
Major Murray Hillgrove, Distinguished Service Order, Military Cross, read by Beeswaxcandle.
Reverend Charles Corsellis, Rector of Fittlehurst, read by Todd.
Mrs. Corsellis, read by Winterberry.
KrayLaura Pennington, read by ShrimpPhish.
Mrs. Minnett, read by Sonia.
Rigg, read by Jon Hunter.
The Girl, read by Stacey M.
Witches, read by Agnes Robert
Stage Directions, read by Larry Wilson. The scene is laid at a cottage on the edge of Fittlehurst Park, Lord Wisborough's seat in Sussex. The Enchanted Cottage, the first act, Relics of the War. The scene represents the inner hall, entrance hall, and staircase of a cottage in the country. Much of the inner hall is of great age, and there are signs in its material and structure that it once formed part of a more important building. The inner hall occupies the portion of the stage nearest to the spectator. On the right is a bay window, casemated with a window seat. On the left is a vast fireplace. The fire is laid, but is not burning. The wall of the inner hall opposite to the spectator is broken by a wide arch, and beyond are the staircase and entrance hall. The front door of the cottage opens into the entrance hall from the right, and the foot of the stairs, which spring from about the center of the hall, faces the door. On the left, between the staircase and the farther wall of the inner hall, runs a passage leading, as it may be supposed, to the kitchen and to the back door and stable yard. The inner hall is furnished simply and appropriately as a living room. On the left, at a short distance from the fireplace, are a settee comfortably upholstered and a round table. There is a chair behind the table and another on the right of it. On the nearer side of the fireplace is a long case clock. Close to the clock, fronting the round table, there is a capacious armchair. Against the wall between the fireplace and the left-hand corner of the room is an oaken dresser with ornamental china and glass on its shelves. And between the dresser and the fireplace is a large basket piled high with logs. On the right, parallel with, but at some distance from the bay window, is an antique refectory table. A chair is set at either end of the table and on each side of it. Standing against the wall at the farther side of the window are a writing table and chair. Against the wall on the nearer side is an oaken coffer, and against the wall between the left-hand corner of the room and the opening of the arch there is a small table with a tobacco jar, an array of pipes, a match bowl, and a box of cigarettes and another of cigars upon it. In the entrance hall, on the wall at the foot of the stairs, some overcoats, hats, and caps are hanging upon a row of hooks. An umbrella and a number of walking sticks are in the vase by the front door. Near the vase stands a dinner gong, and at the mouth of the passage against the side of the staircase there is another table on which are a letter box, a book rack containing a railway guide, and a directory or two, and a blue and white china dish used as a receptacle for visiting cards. A couple of old mirrors, a copper warming pan, a barometer, and a few discolored mezzotint engravings fill spaces on the walls of both the entrance hall and the inner hall. A flower bowl is on the round table, and another on the refectory table, the latter filled with wallflowers. The bowl on the round table is empty save for a little water, but by its side is a tray on which are a heap of freshly cut daffodils, an earthenware jug, and a pair of scissors. The view from the front door, which is open, and from the window is of a flower garden, partially overshadowed by a dense fringe of pine trees. The light, modified by the trees, is that of a fine spring morning. Mrs. Minnett, standing at the round table, is intently taking the daffodils from the tray, trimming their stalks and arranging them in the bowl. She is in a print dress and an apron, a prematurely old woman of 35. Her face is of a strange whiteness, and her eyes have a wild look in them, and altogether there is something about her that is uncanny. Hearing footsteps, she turns her head in the direction of the front door. Presently Laura Pennington and Major Hillgrove appear outside. Laura, seeing Mrs. Minnett.
Good morning, Mrs. Minnett.
Mrs. Minnett going to the door.
Good morning, miss.
I've brought Major Hillgrove to call on Mr. Bashforth. Is he in?
He's in, but he's not down yet.
Drawing back to allow them to pass.
I'll tell him.
Laura and Hillgrove enter, her arm through his. She is a thin, exceedingly plain young woman, with a sallow, unhealthy complexion, colourless lips, and a poor, flat chest. Her dull, scanty hair is drawn tightly from her temples, and she is so pronouncedly round-shouldered as almost to give the impression that she is deformed. She is wearing a shabby little frock which accentuates her leanness, a faded hat, and well-worn shoes and gloves. But she has an air of quiet cheerfulness, and her voice is soft and sweet. Hillgrove, as Laura guides him to the settee.
Oh, but I mustn't disturb Mr. Bashforth. That won't do.
Mrs. Minnett, staring at him and shrinking within herself at the sight.
It's about his time, sir, and he might be angry if I sent you away.
Laura to Hillgrove.
The sofa.
Assisted by Laura, Hillgrove sits, and then she takes his hat and stick from him and lays them by him on the round table. He is a middle-aged man of soldierly bearing, with a bright manner and merry laugh. He is blind. Mrs. Minnett, advancing a little to Hillgrove.
What name shall I say, sir? I didn't catch it.
Hillgrove, pulling off a pair of old wash leather gloves.
Hillgrove, Major Hillgrove. I'm staying with Lord Wisborough at Fittlehurst House.
Laura to Mrs. Minnett.
Major Hillgrove's servant is down with the flu, and I happen to be on the spot. 2 of Mrs. Willis's children, the head laundrywoman, have got mumps.
Mrs. Minnett nodding.
I know.
And so, Miss,
with a wave of his hand.
This kind young lady.
Miss Pennington.
Miss Pennington graciously gave me an arm.
Miss Minnett, looking at Laura steadily.
A kind young lady. That's exactly what Miss Pennington is, sir.
Laura to Mrs. Minnett.
Shh.
Mrs. Minnett to Hillgrove.
Everybody in the parish will agree with you there.
Don't, Mrs. Minnett.
Hillgrove, putting his gloves into his pocket.
No, I'm sure of it.
Mrs. Minnett, turning away.
I'll go up to Mr. Bashforth.
Laura, as Mrs. Minnett ascends the stairs, to Hillgrove.
Send for me when you want me, Major Hillgrove. I shall be in the garden.
Moving towards the front door shyly.
I've only met Mr. Bashforth once or twice.
Wait a bit.
She halts.
Miss Pennington?
Laura returning.
Yes?
Are we alone?
Laura, after a glance at the staircase.
Quite.
So that's Mrs. Minnett, is it?
Mr. Bashforth's housekeeper.
Wisborough was telling me her history last night after dinner. Most interesting.
Lord Wisborough recommended her to Mr. Bashforth. She's the widow of one of his keepers.
Tom Minnett. I've shot with him.
He was a reservist, and among the first to go from Fittlehurst. He fell early in the war, at Ypres.
I picture her. A haggard, eerie woman, with wandering hands. Wandering hands and bony fingers.
She was very different, poor soul, before she had the notice from the War Office of Minnett's death.
Different, but always witch-like, eh?
Witch-like?
Hillgrove smiling.
Suggestive of a broomstick and a scarlet cloak and steeple hat.
Laura also with a smile.
Well, now you speak of it. But not like a wicked witch.
There were beneficent witches as well as evil ones in the old days. They both shared the same fate, perhaps. Mrs. Minnett's distinguished ancestress may have belonged to the amiable variety.
Her ancestress?
Her grandmother, an aged crone of the name of Kindred. She was swum by a mob at a village in Essex as recently as 1865.
Swum?
Thrown into the water. Made to swim for her life and died in consequence.
Laura, somewhat startled.
I knew Mrs. Minnett is what the people here call a foreigner, not a native of these parts, but I've never heard... Oh, how terrible!
This is between ourselves, Miss Pennington. I oughtn't to have repeated the tale.
But, Major Hillgrove, you don't believe in witches, surely?
Ha ha!
At any rate, their descendants don't inherit their qualities.
No. We blind chaps amuse ourselves by indulging in all sorts of odd fancies. If we didn't...
Laura listening.
Hark!
She retreats to the front door as Mrs. Minnett descends the stairs.
Mr. Bashforth is coming down.
Laura in a flutter.
I'm going to sniff the wallflowers, Mrs. Minnett, while Major Hillgrove and Mr. Bashforth have their talk.
She goes out hurriedly, disappearing into the garden, and Mrs. Minnett returns to the round table and finishes the arrangement of the flowers in the bowl. Mrs. Minnett to Hillgrove.
I warn you, sir, it's not one of Mr. Bashforth's good days. You must be prepared for that.
Really? I'm sorry.
He's expecting some visitors from town by and by, and it has upset him.
I'll clear out as soon as possible. Unlucky I should have chosen this morning.
Mrs. Minnett taking up her tray.
Here he is.
Slowly and laboriously, Oliver comes down the stairs. He is the wreck of a handsome young man, broken by the war. His face is drawn and pale. His eyes are sunken, and his clothes hang loosely upon a bent and emaciated frame. He stands glaring resentfully at Hillgrove. Mrs. Minnett to Oliver.
Major Hillgrove, sir.
Oliver advances to the middle of the room, and Mrs. Minnett, looking at the two men over her shoulder as she departs, glides away along the passage. Oliver to Hillgrove.
How'd you do?
Forgive me for intruding on you in this way. I'm staying at Fittlehurst House.
So I understand.
My old schoolfellow, Eddie Wisborough, your trump of a landlord, has asked me to be his guest through the summer, and it struck me, as you and I are to be neighbours for some months.
Oh, thanks.
It struck me we might foregather, have a jaw occasionally.
Oliver scowling at him.
Very good of you.
A solitary spot you've hit on. You must feel rather lonely at times.
I have taken this cottage for the purpose of being lonely.
Tapping his foot on the floor.
If nobody came near me without an invitation, the better I'd be pleased.
A sick man?
Don't I sound like one?
Where were you crocked?
La Boila.
La Boiselle?
August 18.
Where'd they get you?
In the neck.
Moving his head painfully.
Literally, in the neck.
Straightening his left leg with difficulty.
They damn well spoilt my leg, too.
Pressing his palms to his temples.
But it's my head. It's my head that's hell.
It'll work right at your age.
Oh, for God's sake, stop that rot.
Dropping his hands wearily and looking at Hillgrove.
And you?
The year before. 13th of April.
Where?
Vimy.
Oliver gazing at his closed lids.
I suppose I oughtn't to grouse.
Why not, if it eases you?
You don't, apparently.
You haven't given me a chance.
Oliver going to him penitently.
Major.
Hello?
I'm a selfish brute. Excuse my bad manners.
Offering his hand.
I'm holding out my hand to you.
Hillgrove raises his hand and Oliver grips it.
Glad to make your acquaintance.
And I yours. Having broken the ice, I'll be off.
Off?
I won't bother you this morning. You've got some people coming.
My mother and stepfather. They're motoring from London.
Quite so.
Oliver glancing at his wristwatch and then at the clock.
They've arranged to meet the rector and his wife here at 11:30. They're dragging them into the business.
The business?
My burying myself in this secluded place.
Limping about the room.
They won't let me alone.
Flourishing his arms.
They will interfere with me. They'll drive me mad amongst them. The mater and her husband were down here last week, and when they left me I was mad, a raving lunatic. Their latest plan is to saddle Mr. and Mrs. Corsellis with me. The Corsellisses, who have 7 children tugging at them, and another on the road, I believe. I am to be put in their charge, anyhow. And they're a worthy couple, the rector and his wife, and I don't want to insult them. I shall, though. I shan't be able to help myself.
Turning to Hillgrove.
I insulted you a few minutes ago.
That doesn't matter. I'm not a parson.
Oliver taking a bundle of letters from his breast pocket and selecting a letter from the bundle.
Listen to this. From my mother. I haven't slept a wink for it.
Reading.
The more I dwell on it, my dear boy, the more appalled I am at your banishing yourself from your friends and relations, with nobody to care for you, but a weird creature whose appearance positively makes my flesh creep. Jolly unfair. The woman may be queer, but she does her job.
Resuming.
Rupert is as much concerned as I am.
To Hillgrove.
My stepfather. And so is your sister Ethel. If therefore you persist in your eccentric line of conduct, it is our intention to appeal to Mr. and Mrs. Corsellis, strangers as they are to us, to do their utmost by personal control and supervision to promote your comfort and relieve the monotony of your existence. As Rupert has just remarked, of what use is the church if you can't make a convenience of it?
Oliver grinding his teeth.
Shut up, Major.
Reading again.
I am writing to Mr. Corsellis by this post.
Sinking into the chair on the left of the refectory table.
And so on.
Thrusting the letter into a side pocket of his jacket and leaning his head on his hands.
Oh, my head.
Don't worry, it'll all wash straight. You've only to explain to Mr. and Mrs. Rector on the quiet.
Oliver raising his head.
My eccentric line of conduct. You see, they don't realize these stupid belongings of mine, my mother and stepfather and my busybody of a sister, they don't realize that I'm done, finished, down and out. They're so beastly normal. They haven't imagination enough to grasp that my chief object for the future is to avoid those who have known me as I was.
Tush! Rubbish!
As I was, healthy, strong, active.
beating his fists upon his knees.
Rubbish or not, I tell you I hate and despise myself. No words can describe the loathing, the contempt I have for my shriveled face and shrunken carcass. I can't bear to catch sight of myself in the glass. It's agony to me. There are days, this is one of them, when I simply can't bear it.
But there are other days. Come, Bashforth. Do you mind my dropping the mister?
Oh, yes, there are other days when I can lend old Kiffin a hand in the garden, or hobble into the village for the sake of a chat with Hilton at the stores.
Splendid!
Oliver curling his lip.
I've even achieved the feat of drinking a cup of tea at some of the houses round about here.
Imposter.
And perhaps, by and by, when they start tennis, I shall be able to steel myself to sit with the antiques and look on.
With a despairing gesture.
Look on? I was quite a decent lawn tennis player, Major.
I've played a game or two in my time. I won the singles at Beckenham one year and the mixed doubles with Mrs. Landon Raper against Miss Bestwick and Crawford Evans.
Oliver, sitting upright, open-mouthed.
Lord, I remember.
Hillgrove, groping for his hat and stick. Oliver getting to his feet.
Of course. You're Hillgrove, aren't you?
Going to him.
The Hillgrove.
Hillgrove, finding his hat, still laughing.
The chap with the forehand drive.
By Jove, fancy.
Giving him his stick.
And I...
Hillgrove rises, and Oliver grips him by the shoulders.
Oh, Major, what a brute I am.
Eyeing the two men, Mrs. Minnett has entered, softly, carrying a couple of folded newspapers. Mrs. Minnett laying the papers on the farther end of the refectory table to Oliver.
The papers, sir.
Thanks.
Is that Mrs. Minnett?
Mrs. Minnett to Hillgrove.
Yes, sir.
Fetch Miss Pennington, will you, Mrs. Minnett? I'm going home.
Yes, sir.
After another look at Hillgrove, a quick look of horror, Mrs. Minnett, with noiseless steps, goes out at the front door and vanishes into the garden. Oliver to Hillgrove was surprised.
Miss Pennington?
My man's in bed with influenza, and they got Miss Pennington to arm me across the park.
Putting on his hat.
Nice, gentle little thing.
Isn't she?
Hillgrove drawing on his gloves.
I should like to know more of her.
Not difficult. She lives in the village. Poor as a rat, but one of the best.
Yes, the plain women of the world. They're the bricks, Bashforth.
You guess she's plain?
Hillgrove smiling.
Instinct.
You're right. She isn't beautiful.
Forcing a laugh.
Blessed if Miss Pennington and I aren't a match there.
Seeing Laura and Mrs. Minnett pass the window.
Shh.
Meeting Laura as she enters, Mrs. Minnett following her.
Good morning, Miss Pennington.
Laura shaking hands with him bashfully.
Good morning.
Major Hillgrove is ready.
Hillgrove to Laura as she comes to him, and as Mrs. Minnett slowly goes up the stairs.
I haven't kept you long. Mr. Bashforth has a bad head today.
Laura turning to Oliver.
Oh, I am sorry. Have you any phenacetin in the house?
Oliver shaking his head dismally.
Phenacetin's no use.
Oh, but do let me get you some. The village nurse always has it by her. I've left my bicycle at Mrs. Willis's.
Slipping her arm through Hillgrove's.
After I've taken Major Hillgrove home, I'll run into the village and be back in less than half an hour.
Awfully Samaritan of you, but...
Laura with a motion of her head towards the passage.
May we go out that way and through the copse? It'll save us 10 minutes.
Certainly.
Hillgrove, as Laura leads him to the passage.
What a busy little person it is.
Oliver, touching Hillgrove's arm.
Goodbye, Major. When do I see you again?
Hillgrove moving away with Laura.
Tomorrow?
Oliver following them.
Shall I hunt you up in the morning?
Hillgrove out of sight.
Excellent.
Oliver also disappearing.
I'll try not to be such a shocking cad when we next meet.
Scarcely has the sound of Hillgrove's laughter died away when Mr. and Mrs. Corsellis appear at the front door. Corsellis presses the bell-push, and the bell is heard to buzz in the distance. Corsellis is a mild, elderly cleric with the marks of struggle and poverty upon him, and with the round staring eyes and puzzled air of one who is in constant bewilderment at the difficulties of his position. Mrs. Corsellis is a meagre, delicate-looking lady with a feeble voice and vacant smile. Ineffably genteel, she is as poorly clad as her husband, and is enveloped in an ancient cape. Corsellis, having rung the bell, singing to himself absently,
All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful.
Peeping into the room.
Is anybody at home?
After a pause, entering.
May we come in?
To Mrs. Corsellis.
Come in, Jenny. I am sure we are welcome.
Mrs. Corsellis enters.
I dare say you are tired.
Mrs. Corsellis crossing to the settee and seating herself heavily.
I am, rather. A mile and a half is highly creditable under the circumstances.
Corsellis turning his dull eyes upon her.
The circumstances?
Charles.
Oh, of course, my dear. I'd forgotten for the moment.
Forgotten?
Tidying herself.
Forgotten?
Corsellis singing again, and staring at nothing harder than ever.
Each little flower that opens, each little bird that sings.
Oliver returns, making for the front door, coming upon Corsellis.
Ah, Rector.
Shaking hands with him.
Was it you who rang?
Yes.
Mrs. Minnett is upstairs.
Discovering Mrs. Corsellis.
How are you, Mrs. Corsellis?
Mrs. Corsellis giving him a limp hand.
Thank you. Moderately well.
Corsellis to Oliver.
Amazingly well. We've walked from the village.
Oliver pointing to the chair on the left of the refectory table.
Do sit down.
Corsellis sitting.
A considerable distance from my wife in her present state of health.
Mrs. Corsellis averting her head.
Darling.
Oh, it's common knowledge, Jenny.
Laying his rusty hat upon the table.
There's not a soul in Fittlehurst that isn't aware of the impending event.
To Oliver.
You've heard of it, Mr. Bashforth?
Heard?
That an addition to my family is, so to speak, hovering between heaven and earth.
Oliver examining his nails.
Hilton, the manager of the stores, was mentioning...
What a pretty expression. Hovering between heaven and earth.
Corsellis tapping upon his teeth.
And when heaven yields its gift, that will make our 7th.
8th, Charles.
8th.
Mrs. Corsellis to Oliver.
My husband gets so confused, Mr. Bashforth, as the number increases.
Corsellis reckoning on his fingers mechanically.
Egbert, Mildred.
Mrs. Corsellis to Oliver.
As you may suspect, the living of Fittlehurst is an extremely poor one, even with tithes at their improved rate.
Joan, Stephen.
And sometimes he feels almost crushed by the weight of his responsibilities.
Barbara.
Mrs. Corsellis prompting him.
Dear little Aggie.
Dear little Aggie.
Mrs. Corsellis to Oliver.
With the result that he becomes quite muddled and absent-minded.
That's only 6.
You've left out Peterkin.
Oh, yes, Peterkin.
Mrs. Corsellis to Oliver.
But, as I am always saying to Charles, what is an addition to a family, however large? A little more water in the teapot.
Oliver, his elbows resting on the back of the chair on the right of the round table, his attention straying.
Precisely.
Why, therefore, I ask of him, should he allow a morbid consciousness of our domestic burdens to render the discharge of his parochial duties irksome, if not repellent?
Why indeed?
Why allow it to make his delivery of the services inarticulate and his sermons unintelligible?
Corsellis suddenly clasping his brow.
Oh dear.
Darling!
Do I neglect my duty to my parishioners, Jenny?
Oh, I don't mean...
Am I inarticulate, unintelligible in the pulpit?
Mrs. Corsellis with an evasive wriggle.
Well, Charles...
A motor horn hoots repeatedly close at hand, the hoots growing more and more persistent. They all stiffen themselves, listening. Oliver, after a while.
My people.
Mrs. Corsellis rearranging the set of her skirt.
Your mother and stepfather?
Corsellis searching his pockets.
Mr. and Mrs.
Oliver, his impatience and fretfulness returning.
Smallwood.
Corsellis rising.
I have a letter. I had a letter.
Oliver, his hands to his ears.
I know. Asking you to be here at 11:30.
Corsellis helplessly.
What have I done with your mother's letter?
Oliver going towards the front door.
Oh, stop that noise. Stop that horrible noise.
As he nears the door, the horn gives a final screech, and Mrs. Smallwood, a voluble, overpowering, but amiable lady, still comely in spite of her 50 years, enters with a rush. Mrs. Smallwood smothering Oliver in an embrace.
My child, didn't you hear the horn? How are you? Kiss me. I do believe you're looking better. Kiss me again. Not much better, but better.
To Corsellis, who at her entrance has moved to the middle of the room.
Mr. Carruthers?
Corsellis, mother.
Mrs. Smallwood shaking hands with Corsellis.
How do you do, Vicar? Or should it be Rector? Nobody has ever been able to explain the difference to me. How nice of you to respond to our summons.
Seeing Mrs. Corsellis.
Your wife, I'm sure.
Going to Mrs. Corsellis, who rises with a simper.
Charming of you two.
Shaking hands with her.
I should have known you were the wife of a country clergyman if I hadn't expected to meet you.
Laying her handbag on the round table and pulling off her gloves.
There's something about a country clergyman's wife that's so simple and comforting.
Oh.
Oliver, who has followed his mother, writhing.
Where's the step?
He'll be here in a minute.
Throwing her gloves onto the table and unbuttoning her coat.
He's at the wheel. Cookson begged for a day off. Even chauffeurs demand holidays nowadays.
Getting out of her thick motor coat with Oliver's assistance.
Not that we've missed him in the least. Rupert has driven magnificently.
Cumbering Oliver with her coat.
You're still terribly ghastly, my dear son.
Unwinding a scarf from her neck.
We ran over some chickens at a place called Piddingfold. 2 hens and a male.
Adding the scarf to Oliver's load.
6 shillings they charged us for them. Rank profiteering.
Plumping herself down in the chair on the right of the round table, and opening her bag as Oliver carries her coat and scarf to the chair at the farther end of the refectory table and deposits them there.
In pre-war times, we never paid more than half a crown.
Smallwood stalks in.
Mr. and Mrs. Cornelius are before us, Rupert.
Smallwood, a gaunt, lank, black-haired man of 55, with a solemn visage and ponderous manner, giving Oliver a hand to dandle.
2 hours and 40 minutes we've done the journey in.
Bowing to Corsellis and bestowing a hand upon him.
2 hours and 40 minutes from door to door.
Mrs. Smallwood, indicating Mrs. Corsellis, who has resumed her seat.
Mrs. the rector's wife.
Smallwood, bowing to Mrs. Corsellis.
How do you do, madam?
Presenting his cap to Oliver.
Some foolish fowls ran under me at Chiddingfold, or we should have been with you sooner.
Mrs. Smallwood, surveying herself in a vanity glass which she has taken from her bag.
Their remains are at the bottom of the car.
To Oliver.
May we offer you one, Oliver?
Oliver, receiving Smallwood's gloves, coat, and neck wrap from him.
Rather not. Thanks, all the same.
Fastidious fellow.
Fussing with her hair.
Chicken broth is none the less sustaining for being made from a mangled bird. Many is the cup of nutritious soup.
Smallwood to Mrs. Smallwood.
Forgive the interruption, Violet.
Coming to the chair on the left of the refectory table.
Recollect we haven't more than a quarter of an hour for our,
With a large gesture.
Our conference.
Oliver, putting Smallwood's coat, etc., upon the chair on the right of the refectory table. To Smallwood.
You're not lunching with me, then? Step, you and Mother?
Mrs. Smallwood, replacing the mirror in her bag.
Not today, my pet.
Smallwood, sitting.
We are going on to Bognor.
Mrs. Smallwood to Mrs. Corsellis.
My husband hasn't seen Bognor for years.
Smallwood, funereally.
Not since I was a curly-headed, frolicsome lad.
Mrs. Smallwood to Oliver.
Besides, I frankly confess I shouldn't care to be waited on a table by that forbidding housekeeper of yours, Ollie dear. Rupert declares she reminds him of the witches in Othello.
Macbeth.
Mrs. Smallwood to Oliver.
How can you have been induced?
Oliver at the chair at the nearer end of the refectory table.
Oh, we won't discuss her again, Mother. Please.
To Mrs. Corsellis.
Mrs. Corsellis.
Exceedingly kind of you, Mr. Bashforth, but we must get back to the children.
Corsellis, who has timidly seated himself in the chair behind the round table.
Yes, we must get back to the children.
Mrs. Smallwood, beaming upon the Corsellises.
Children? You have children?
Yes, we have children.
Yes, we have children.
Mrs. Smallwood to Smallwood.
Mr. and Mrs. Cornwallis have children of their own, Rupert.
Oliver sitting.
Good God, why shouldn't Mr. and Mrs. Corsellis have children, Mother?
Don't be so touchy, Oliver.
To the Corsellises.
You having children makes my task much easier. Only parents can appreciate the feelings of parents. What my feelings are with regard to my son, you can surmise. Such a bright boy before the war, and now utterly changed. Oh, I don't shut my eyes to facts. Ill he is, undoubtedly. But my contention is this. Broken spirits and shattered nerves are not to be restored by leading a monkish existence in the country.
By resorting to a mode of life which has all the drawbacks of the grave with none of its advantages.
What I have urged upon Oliver till my throat has ached is that he should make an effort. Nothing is done without effort. When I fractured my ankle through being cruelly capsized by Colonel McHugh at the skating rink in 1913, did I allow the mishap to depress me? Not I, not I. Within a fortnight, my bath chair was seen everywhere. Picture shows, wedding parties, a fancy dress ball at the Albert Hall, everywhere that was on the level. Sometimes I trembled lest I should be voted a nuisance. Bignell, the bath chair man, was so clumsy. Be that as it may, that is the temper in which I would have my boy confront his misfortunes. But I seem to have lost every vestige of influence over him, let alone authority. I could cry about it. Oh me, those happy far-off days when he would tuck his tiny hand in mine and toddle by my side.
Smallwood, who has been biting his nails, to Mrs. Smallwood.
Excuse me, Violet. Whether it will be happy or not I am unable to predict, but at this rate it will certainly be a far-off day which witnesses our arrival at Bognor.
Really, Rupert, if I mayn't approach the subject in my own way.
Smallwood with a wave of his hand.
Pardon, but you won't be annoyed, I trust, if I occasionally interject the word Bognor as a reminder that a benign providence has provided time with wings.
Oh!
Smallwood inclining his head.
Go on.
Warningly.
Bognor.
Mrs. Smallwood to Smallwood.
You are too aggravating.
To Mrs. Corsellis.
You have read my letter, dear lady?
Yes.
Then I'll put the question bluntly, without further preamble.
Darting an aggrieved look at Smallwood.
I can be as brief as anybody when it's necessary.
To Mrs. Corsellis.
The question is, will you act a mother's part towards this perverse, I must say it, this perverse, obstinate young man? Will you, out of the depth of your maternal heart?
One moment.
Turning to Oliver.
We are assuming, of course, that Oliver is still firm in his resolve.
Oliver, who has been nursing his head, looking up.
Quite right. Step, firm as a rock.
Mrs. Smallwood to the Corsellises.
You hear him?
What's more, Lord Wisborough's agent promises to grant me a lease of this cottage at Michaelmas, if I apply for it, and...
Mrs. Smallwood to the Corsellises.
His father, my first husband, was just the same. Just the same. Poor Cyril might be alive now, but for his, I hate the expression, his pig-headedness. Try as I would, did I ever succeed in persuading Oliver's father to wear an overcoat? No, not even in the bleakest weather. My dear friends, my first husband was one of those men who do not and will not take proper precautions. What were the consequences? What could be the consequences in such a winter as we had in 1905?
Bognor.
Mrs. Smallwood turning to him.
Eh?
Bognor.
Mrs. Smallwood rising.
Rupert!
Smallwood rising.
My dear.
Do it yourself. I have finished.
Corsellis, who has also risen.
No, no, pray.
We are most interested.
To Corsellis.
Aren't we, Charles?
Most, most.
Smallwood to Mrs. Smallwood.
My dear Violet, I merely...
Exactly.
Walking away.
I leave the affair entirely to you.
Oliver rocking himself from side to side.
Oh, don't get shirty, Mother.
Mrs. Smallwood flouncing about the room.
Shirty?
The step only wants you to hurry up.
Smallwood to Mrs. Smallwood appealingly.
Violet.
Mrs. Smallwood is shaking her head.
Not on any account. I won't breathe another syllable.
Smallwood advancing to the round table.
This puts me in a very difficult position.
Mrs. Smallwood coming forward.
Ha!
Smallwood as Mrs. Smallwood sits in the chair he has just vacated.
The position of a stepfather is difficult at all times, but to have this thrown upon me is peculiarly embarrassing.
La 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 la, la 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 la.
Smallwood, after a reproachful glance at Mrs. Smallwood, motioning to Corsellis to reseat himself and preparing for action.
However,
sitting in the chair on the right of the round table and addressing Mrs. Corsellis.
Mrs. Smallwood was on the point of asking you, madam. In fact, if my memory serves me, she did actually get so far as to ask you whether you can and will make us your debtors by filling her place, to the extent that her place can be filled by an individual standing in no blood relationship, or indeed relationship of any sort or description, to my stepson, whether you can and will, by the exercise of that spirit of unselfishness seldom, it is gratifying to reflect, absent from the moral qualities of those connected with the Church, whether, I repeat, you can and will, and in petitioning you we invoke naturally the sympathetic assistance of your reverend husband, whether...
Mrs. Smallwood, her eyes sparkling.
Bogner!
Smallwood turning to her.
Bogner!
Oliver groaning.
Oh.
Smallwood to Mrs. Smallwood in an injured tone.
This is petty, Violet.
It appears to me that if we are to reach Bogner today, that I had better take it up again.
Smallwood leaning back in his chair and closing his eyes.
Petty.
A more involved, complicated sentence.
Distinctly petty.
Mrs. Smallwood to Mrs. Corsellis triumphantly.
To resume, Mr. Smallwood having lost himself in a maze of eloquence.
Smallwood wincing.
Touching my son's meals, dear lady, do you think you could manage to pop in here every morning and settle his meals for him with this Mrs. Thingamy, his housekeeper, in whom I haven't a particle of confidence? A postcard from me regularly, dropping you a hint.
Oh.
Mrs. Smallwood to Oliver.
Be quiet, Ollie dear.
To Mrs. Corsellis.
His appetite, I may tell you now, resembles his father's in an extraordinary degree. A marvellous phenomenon, heredity. Fish, for example. I'll be bound saltwater fish is as rare in your village as pearls. No matter if there are trout ponds in the neighbourhood. My boy is as fond of trout as his father was. Lord bless me, if I were to attempt to calculate how often my first husband entreated me to give him speckled-back trout when in season, fried, meunière or en bleu. Oh.
Smallwood, partly to himself.
Bogner.
What, Rupert?
Smallwood opening his eyes.
Nothing, Violet.
Mrs. Smallwood to Mrs. Corsellis, who, while retaining her smile, shrinks further and further into the settee in consternation as Mrs. Smallwood proceeds.
Another idea. An arrangement might be arrived at between us for Oliver to lunch or dine with you at the vicarage, or rectory, whichever it is, once or twice a week.
With clenched fists and set jaw, Oliver rises and walks to the window, and there stands glaring into the garden. Smallwood to Corsellis.
And with the permission of the churchwardens, for him to hand round one of the collecting plates in church on Sundays. A little excitement of that nature would, in my humble judgment, be beneficial to Oliver.
Tapping upon his teeth again.
I can't conceive that the excitement of handing a collecting plate in my church and observing its ultimate contents would be injurious to Mr. Bashforth.
Oliver moves from the window to the middle of the room. Mrs. Smallwood to Mrs. Corsellis.
Then we come to the repairing of his household linen and wearing apparel. The bare notion of a torn sheet or a sock with a hole in it.
Mother?
My boy.
You've heard that Mr. and Mrs. Corsellis have children. Hasn't it struck you to inquire how many? Evidently it hasn't. And the rectory's 1.5 miles away. Do you imagine that Mrs. Corsellis can leave her 7 kids and tramp 3 miles every day to busy herself over my paltry concerns?
7?
7.
Glancing at Mrs. Corsellis.
And...
Good gracious.
To Mrs. Corsellis.
Dear lady, Oliver is exaggerating.
No, there are 7 at present.
At present?
Corsellis rising.
Another is, so to speak, hovering between heaven and earth.
So poetical, hovering between heaven and earth.
Mrs. Smallwood gasping.
And is it true they are all at home, those that have ceased to hover?
All.
Corsellis coming to the back of the settee.
They were at home when we started out.
The elder children are a little unruly.
The youngest?
Just 2.
Mrs. Smallwood to Smallwood.
Rupert, the fowls, I insist.
Smallwood, bowing to Mrs. Corsellis.
Madam, we insist on your accepting the 3 reckless fowls to whom I have been compelled to read such a salutary lesson.
Oh.
Oliver to the Smallwoods.
At any rate, you see, you see, mother.
You should have informed us of this earlier, Oliver.
Rising.
I do see that it would show a deplorable lack of consideration to trespass on the good nature of anybody with 7 children, and with power, to borrow a commercial idiom, with power to add to their number.
To Mrs. Smallwood, as Oliver goes to the foot of the stairs and leans on the stanchion of the banisters with an air of exhaustion.
You agree, Violet?
Absolutely.
I admit it would hardly be practicable.
Mrs. Smallwood rising.
Practical? Impossible!
Going to Mrs. Corsellis, who also rises, and seizing her hands.
My dear Mrs. Carmichael, I congratulate you on the size of your family. I congratulate you warmly.
Mrs. Smallwood shaking hands with Corsellis, who joins them.
I congratulate you both, my dear Canon.
Smallwood at the right of the refectory table, putting on his neck wrap, to Mrs. Smallwood.
This will necessitate the adoption of your alternative scheme, Violet.
Mrs. Smallwood bustling to the refectory table and putting on her scarf.
Yes, we will go into the subject thoroughly with Ethel this evening.
To the Corsellises, as Oliver turns quickly and listens with a face full of alarm.
My unselfish girl. She is prepared to make any sacrifice for her brother.
Taking up her coat.
Help me, Ollie dear.
Oliver coming to her assistance.
Ethel? Where the devil?
To the Corsellises.
Sorry.
To Mrs. Smallwood.
Where does Ethel come in, Mother?
Mrs. Smallwood struggling into her coat.
Ethel has expressed her willingness to join you at the end of the season, Oliver, and if no one else could be found to do it, to take over the management of your cottage.
Oliver aghast, his arms falling to his sides.
Great Caesar!
Oh, of course you will raise obstacles.
Buttoning her coat.
You oppose me in everything, my child.
But Ethel and I have never hit it off, Mother. We fight like cat and dog. You know we do.
Ethel's temper has improved considerably of late, Oliver, whatever yours has become.
Pointing to her gloves and handbag.
My gloves.
Oliver fetching the gloves and handbag from the round table and giving them to Mrs. Smallwood.
Her nose! Oh, Lord, her nose! I can't stand Ethel's nose. That hasn't improved.
Mrs. Smallwood drawing on her gloves.
I should prefer not discussing your sister's facial characteristics in the presence of our friends here.
To Smallwood.
Rupert!
Smallwood, who has got into his overcoat unaided, to the Corsellises.
We may have the pleasure of dropping you with the fowls on our way. We pass through the village.
Oh.
Smallwood to Oliver.
Lend me a hand with the car, Oliver. The process of waggling the crank is particularly distasteful to me.
Mrs. Smallwood, as Oliver slouches out at the front door droopingly, going to Mrs. Corsellis and taking her arm.
Come along, dear lady.
Walking her to the door.
I wish I'd time to run into the deanery and kiss your sweet children, but this tiresome Bogner.
Smallwood, who has preceded them, turning and confronting Mrs. Smallwood.
No, Violet, we are not lunching at Bognor. My plans are altered.
Not?
After what has occurred, the very name of the place stinks in my nostrils.
Where?
Littlehampton.
He departs, the 2 ladies following him. Mrs. Smallwood tossing her head.
Littlehampton or Jericho, for aught I care.
Disappearing with Mrs. Corsellis.
Talk about pettiness.
Corsellis, slowly and thoughtfully wandering after them, picking up his hat as he goes, and again singing to himself.
The rich man in his castle, the poor man at his gate, God made them high or lowly, and ordered their estate.
Passing the foot of the stairs, he sees Mrs. Minnett coming down.
Ah, Mrs. Minnett, a fine day.
Yes, sir.
All things bright and beautiful.
Going out.
All creatures great and small.
Disappearing.
All things wise and wonderful.
Mrs. Minnett, after a short silence, standing near the open door and crooning softly.
The purple-headed mountains, the river running by, the sunset and the morning that brightens up the sky.
Laura, flushed and rather out of breath, creeps in from the passage. Finding Mrs. Minnett alone, taking up the hymn,
All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small. Where is Mr. Bashforth, Mrs. Minnett?
Mrs. Minnett smiling wanly upon her.
He's had visitors.
Motioning towards the garden.
I think he's at the gate, saying goodbye to them.
Laura, producing a little paper packet.
Get me a glass of water, will you?
Coming to the nearer end of the refectory table.
I want him to take 2 of these tablets to relieve his headache.
Mrs. Minnett nods, and casting a keen look at Laura, goes along the passage. A motor horn emits a succession of monetary hoots. Laura takes off her gloves and, singing to herself as she does so, opens the packet and selects 2 of the tablets and lays them carefully on the table.
The cold wind in the winter, the pleasant summer sun, the ripe fruits in the garden, he made them, every one.
Oliver returns, unheard, and stands gazing at her dully.
All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful.
Oliver advancing.
That the Phoenicetan?
Laura, startled.
Oh!
Answering him.
Yes?
You've been very quick.
Luck. I found Nurse at her lodgings, packing up to go to a case at Gould's farm.
Mrs. Minnett re-enters carrying a glass of water.
Thank you, Mrs. Minnett.
Giving him the 2 tablets, one after the other.
2 now.
He takes the tumbler from Mrs. Minnett and swallows the tablets.
And 2 more in 3 or 4 hours' time, if the head's still painful.
As he gulps the second tablet.
Capital.
He returns the tumbler to Mrs. Minnett, and Laura gives him the paper packet.
I should advise you to send to Ibbs and Perry, the chemists at Petborough, for a whole bottle of them.
To Mrs. Minnett, who is moving away.
Jog Mr. Bashforth's memory, Mrs. Minnett, if he forgets.
Mrs. Minnett nodding again.
I will, miss.
With another eager look over her shoulder, she withdraws. Putting the paper packet into his waistcoat pocket, Oliver has turned from Laura and is now seated on the settee, his arms hanging loosely and his chin on his breast. Laura breaking an awkward silence.
That's right.
Picking up her gloves, which she has laid on the refectory table.
You ought to keep quiet after a dose of phenacetin.
Tiptoeing towards the passage.
Good morning.
I say, Miss Pennington?
Laura halting.
Yes?
I shall have to leave this cottage.
Leave?
Hide myself somewhere or other. There's nothing else for it.
Laura approaching him.
Oh, Mr. Bashforth! Why?
Oliver raising his head.
Because of my people. They won't let me alone. They will pester me, torment me.
Torment you?
They've been here again this morning, my mother and stepfather. They've just gone.
With a sudden fierceness.
What do you think they've sprung on me now?
Laura, half scared.
What?
My sister Ethel. She's coming down by and by. Ethel's coming down.
On a visit?
Visit? No. To squat. To dig herself in permanently.
But won't that be nice for you?
Nice?
Your sister.
You don't know her. She's awful. She's older than I am and a tyrant. A meddlesome tyrant.
Laura smiling faintly in reproof.
For shame.
A vinegary one, too. She realizes she's a failure, and that makes her acid. She'll never get a husband. Her nose will always stand in her way.
Her nose?
The most assertive nose that ever adorned a human countenance.
Laughing mirthlessly.
I see their game. The Matters and the Steps. This would provide a fresh opening for Ethel's activities and rid them of her at home. Wouldn't things hum in the village if Ethel once planted her foot here?
Throwing himself at full length on the settee, face downward.
Oh!
Laura, after a pause, seating herself timidly on the edge of the chair on the right of the rounded table.
Mr. Bashforth.
Oliver, his head buried in the pillow of the settee.
Oh!
Laura, twiddling her gloves.
I hope you won't be angry with me for offering you advice, that you won't think I'm presuming on our slight acquaintance.
Not I.
Whether you remain in this cottage or go elsewhere, it isn't good for you to live alone. Practically alone, for you can't count poor Mrs. Minnett or any person in her position, can you? Do fall in with this plan of your people's. Give it a trial.
Oliver groaning into the pillow.
Oh!
I am sure you are unjust to your sister. In spite of the hard things you say of her, she must be a kind woman to be ready to exchange London for Fittlehurst. She must be! Oh, it's dreadful that you should have no companion. On a wet day, and in the long evenings, nobody to read to you, or play cards with you, and fill your pipe for you, and chat over the news in the papers.
Slowly he lifts himself on his elbow and, unnoticed by her, regards her curiously.
Often and often during the rough weather we've had lately, when the wind has been roaring in my chimney and my fire hissing at the rain, I've pictured you sitting here in solitude, and I...
Becoming conscious of his gaze, she falters, breaks off, and begins to draw on her gloves.
Kiffin, your gardener, is mending the valve of one of my bicycle tires.
Rising.
He'll have it done by now.
Oliver putting his feet to the ground.
No, don't go yet.
Laura in some confusion.
Oh, but I've...
Listen.
Staring before him, his hands gripping his knees.
Don't be startled at what I'm going to propose to you. Fancy you're thinking of me like that. Thank you. Talk about a kind woman. You're a kind little woman, and no mistake.
Oh, please.
You wouldn't get on a man's nerves, strip the very skin off him. You wouldn't.
Rising and going to her.
Look here. I am desperately wretched at times. You can't be much gayer. We're both jolly well in the same boat. Miss Pennington, will you give up your lodgings and move into my cottage? We be married first, of course.
She stands petrified.
That would keep my silly mother and my shrill sister and my solemn, pompous stepfather at arm's length.
She backs away from him a step or two.
I be good to you. Endeavor not to try your patience. When I felt extra bad, I'd sneak away and shut myself in my room. And I've 800 a year of my own. Enough for comfort.
You You know so little of me.
Your father and mother were gentlefolk. The gossip of the village is my authority. And anyhow...
If you want to marry and keep your people at arm's length, there must be dozens of smart, pretty girls in London, in your own set.
Pretty girls? Pretty? It's the pretty girls I've splashed about with in town that I can't face, that I haven't the courage to face.
Opening his arms.
Look at me, a hideous casualty for the rest of my life, an eligible husband for a pretty girl I am.
I understand. You asked me to marry you, Mr. Bashforth, not only because you're installing a wife here. Any wife would stop your family from worrying you, but because I possess the special qualification of being ugly.
Steadying herself.
I'm greatly obliged to you.
Oliver appalled at the mess he has made of it.
Miss Pennington.
Laura attempting to pass him.
It doesn't matter.
Oliver intercepting her.
For heaven's sake, Miss Pennington.
Turning from him suddenly and sinking into the chair on the left of the refectory table. Covering her face with her hands.
How can you? How can you?
Forgive me. I'm a blundering ass. What I meant was, I wouldn't have hurt you for the world.
Moving about the room distractedly.
What I meant was, no woman would marry me except from compassion, and the girls in my set, as you call them, are not the sort who to give up their dancing and racketing to devote themselves to a helpless, unsightly, neurotic chap such as I've become. That's the point. Whether you can bring yourself to take pity on me.
Sitting in the chair on the right of the round table.
Oh, I know there'd be no romance in our marriage. Couldn't be. But we could be pals, you and I. I can't offer you anything else. Simply pals.
Seeing that she is furtively drying her eyes.
Oh, I am sorry I've hurt you.
Laura turning to him.
Don't be. It was stupid of me to be upset.
Smiling at him through her tears.
As if I wasn't aware of my ugliness.
Wrying her mouth at him playfully.
But it's a shock to be told of it so bluntly. For, of course, I see through your excuses. They wouldn't deceive a babe.
Oliver, his head in his hands.
Damn. Oh, damn.
Laura buttoning a glove.
One recommendation I venture to make, Mr. Bashforth, if ever you again approach an ugly woman in this way, bear in mind that even ugly women, conscious as they may be of their defects, have their dreams.
Resting her hands in her lap and drawing a deep breath.
Their dreams.
Oliver looking up.
Dreams?
Daydreams, as well as night dreams. Golden dreams. Merciful dreams.
Merciful?
Dreams of forgetfulness, of oblivion, dreams in which they are as lovely and desirable as the loveliest and the most desirable of their sex.
Resuming the buttoning of her gloves.
Remember that, and that to spare them too complete an awakening is a deed of charity.
Oliver getting to his feet.
Miss Pennington, your name's Laura, isn't it? Laura?
Mrs. Minnett enters quietly from the passage, and without raising her eyes goes to the farther end of the refectory table. She is carrying a white tablecloth and a small cruet stand. Laura jumping up brightly and holding out her hand to Oliver.
Just going, Mrs. Minnett.
Oliver seizing her hand.
Laura.
With an eye on Mrs. Minnett, who, having placed the tablecloth and cruet stand upon the table, takes up the newspapers and lays them on the writing table.
Will you see me this afternoon, if I walk into the village?
While Mrs. Minnett's back is turned to them.
You must.
Laura's lips form the word no as she tries to disengage her hand.
You must.
Laura, as Mrs. Minnett returns to the refectory table and proceeds to unfold the cloth.
Oh, very well then. If you...
Oliver releasing her.
Thanks.
Laura with an effort at composure.
Goodbye.
Hurrying to the passage.
My bicycle's in the stable yard. Don't come out, Mr. Bashforth.
Over her shoulder.
Morning, Mrs. Minnett.
Mrs. Minnett spreading the cloth over the farther half of the refectory table.
Good morning, miss.
Laura disappears. Oliver follows her as quickly as he can hobble, whereupon Mrs. Minnett darts from the table and watches the retreating figures. Then, with an exultant chuckle, she throws her arms in the air and waves her hands above her head. End of the first act. Act 2 of The Enchanted Cottage by Arthur Wing Pinero. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The second act, Strange Happenings and a Dream. The scene is that of the preceding act. It is night time, and the front door is closed and the window curtains are drawn. An oil lamp burns brightly on the round table, another on the writing table, and a smaller one on the table in the entrance hall. The lamps are prettily shaded. A woman's work-bag and needlework and a few books are on the round table. The bowl which stood on the round table in Act 1 is now on the dresser. The other bowl is still on the refectory table. Both are filled with such flowers as can be gathered from an English garden in May. 2 bedroom candlesticks are on the table in the entrance hall. A box of matches is in the tray of each candlestick. There is nobody in the inner hall or entrance hall, but in a little while the front door bell rings in the distance, and presently Mrs. Minnett, in a black dress and white apron, comes softly along the passage and opens the door. Major Hillgrove and Rigg, his servant, are outside. Rigg, a man of soldierly appearance and manner, minus his right arm.
Good evening, Mom.
Mrs. Minnett, with a strange gleam in her eyes.
Good evening, Mr. Rigg.
To Hillgrove.
Come in, sir.
Rigg conducts Hillgrove to the left of the refectory table, and having put down his own cap, takes Hillgrove's cap and stick from him and places them on the table. Mrs. Minnett shuts the door and comes forward.
Mr. and Mrs. Bashforth are expecting you, sir. They've gone for a stroll in Todd's Lane. They won't be more than a few minutes.
Hillgrove taking off his gloves and putting them into the pocket of a cape he is wearing.
What time is it, Mrs. Minnett?
Mrs. Minnett glancing at the clock.
9:30, sir.
Late hour for a call. Couldn't get down sooner.
As Rigg relieves him of his cape.
Phew. Glad to be rid of that, Rigg.
Rigg laying the cape on the chair at the farther end of the refectory table.
Dare say you are, sir.
Hillgrove, who is in a dinner jacket, feeling round about him for a chair.
Wasn't so early in the year, I'd swear we were going to have a thunderstorm.
Mrs. Minnett, as Rigg returns to Hillgrove and seats himself in the chair on the left of the table.
The air is stifling, sir.
Hillgrove to Rigg.
Rigg?
Rigg bringing himself to attention.
Yes, sir.
Perhaps Mrs. Minnett will let you sit in her kitchen till I want you again.
Certainly I will, with pleasure.
Looking at Rigg.
Any soldier man.
Rigg picking up his cap.
Thank ye kindly, Mom.
Mrs. Minnett going to the mouth of the passage.
This way, Mr. Rigg.
Mrs. Minnett?
Mrs. Minnett halting.
Sir?
1 moment.
Mrs. Minnett to Rigg, who is at her heels, pointing.
Through that door.
With a nod, Rigg departs, and Mrs. Minnett returns to Hillgrove.
I'm here, sir.
Mr. and Mrs. Bashforth quite well, Mrs. Minnett?
Quite, sir.
Nothing amiss, eh?
Mrs. Minnett, smiling oddly.
Nothing, sir.
That's right. I've been away for a fortnight, with an invalid sister in Worcestershire. When I got back this afternoon, I found a note from Mr. Bashforth which
stroking his head.
Rather puzzled me.
Puzzled you, sir?
Rigg is a confoundedly bad reader of handwriting. Makes a frightful hash of it as a rule. But there was something in the note. However, they're both well, you say?
Mrs. Minnett, her queer smile never leaving her.
Both, sir.
Then...
Bending forward, his elbows on his knees.
Then what has happened to the Mrs. Minnett? What has happened to the young couple that's so extraordinary?
I can't tell you, sir.
Hillgrove bethinking himself and sitting upright.
Of course not. Of course not. When were they married, Mrs. Minnett?
Mrs. Minnett seating herself stealthily in the chair on the right of the round table.
A week ago, sir. Yesterday.
At Fittlehurst Church?
Yes, sir. By license.
A very short honeymoon?
Oh, no, sir. They're spending their honeymoon here, in this cottage. This is their honeymoon.
I see.
After the ceremony they had lunched at the rectory, and then they went for a drive in a hired car, and were home for dinner.
They preferred the simple comforts you can give them to an expensive hotel? Sensible of them.
You'll be the first person they've seen, sir, since their marriage, except me. And me they're shy of.
Indeed. I'm flattered.
Mrs. Minnett, her smile broadening to a grin, and her eyes glowing more intensely.
It is a privilege, sir, because Mr. and Mrs. Bashforth are in hiding.
Naturally.
Concealing themselves. They never stir out till nightfall, and then they wrap themselves up and cover their faces for fear they should meet anybody.
Little modesty is refreshing in these days, Mrs. Minnett.
Mrs. Minnett rubbing the palms of her hands together gleefully.
They shun even Mr. Kiffin, old Kiffin the gardener.
Rocking herself to and fro.
Shh!
Rising and tiptoeing to the front door.
Footsteps on the gravel path.
Straining her ears.
It's them.
She opens the door eagerly. Oliver outside.
Major Hillgrove here yet, Mrs. Minnett?
Yes, sir. He's waiting.
Good.
Laura and Oliver enter, she in a long cloak and thickly veiled, he in an overcoat and a cap which is pulled down over his brows. His coat collar is turned up so that scarcely more than the tip of his nose is visible. They come to the middle of the inner hall and stand close together, as if anxious to shield each other. Mrs. Minnett shuts the front door and then goes to the mouth of the passage. Mrs. Minnett to Oliver.
Major Hillgrove's servant is in the kitchen, sir.
All right.
Mrs. Minnett vanishes, and Laura, after a brief pause, during which Hillgrove, by a gesture, expresses great bewilderment, steals into the entrance hall and peers along the passage to assure herself that Mrs. Minnett is out of earshot. Hillgrove, unable to contain himself any longer.
What's the matter? In God's name, what's the matter, Bashforth?
Oliver, as Laura returns to him.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Oh, wonderful!
We'll tell you directly.
Simultaneously, Laura and Oliver divest themselves of their outdoor things and reveal themselves as splendid specimens of blooming womanhood and vigorous young manhood. Her simple dinner gown displays a pair of shapely arms and a perfectly modeled throat. Her eyes are big and luminous. Her figure is full, her hair bright and luxuriant, and her face faultless in its complexion and contour. Oliver, who has lost all traces of his lameness, runs with a light and springy step into the entrance hall and hangs his overcoat and cap on one of the hooks at the foot of the stairs, while Laura, having flung her cloak, hat, and veil on the chair behind the round table, comes to Hillgrove and stands before him with her arms extended.
Oh, Major Hillgrove, if you could only see us.
Oliver, also in a dinner jacket, coming between Laura and Hillgrove.
By Jove, yes, if you could only see us.
It was I who proposed sending for you, Major Hillgrove. We didn't know where to turn for advice, if not to you.
We're in such a deuce of a predicament.
Hillgrove, listening tensely, his bewilderment increasing.
Predicament?
Laura, her hand clasped in Oliver's.
You understood from Oliver's letter, didn't you, that something has befallen us? Something out of the common?
Vaguely.
I couldn't be more explicit in a letter.
But what has befallen you?
You'll never believe us.
Never.
I've become beautiful, Major Hillgrove.
It's a fact. We're not fooling you.
Beautiful?
Oliver, gazing at Laura.
Gloriously beautiful.
And as for Oliver, I can't describe the change in Oliver.
My wife is growing lovelier and lovelier every day, Hillgrove.
And Oliver stronger and straighter and handsomer.
Dash it, man, don't you hear the difference in us?
Don't you hear, Major Hillgrove?
Hillgrove, dumbfounded.
Yes. Yes.
Laura, detaching herself from Oliver and walking unsteadily to the settee.
Oh, I'm frightened.
Sinking onto the settee.
I'm frightened.
Oliver to Hillgrove, waving an arm in the direction of the kitchen.
Laura has been giving me this woman's history. She had it from you. It didn't soak into her at first.
I recollected it suddenly, in a flash the other night.
Woman?
Mrs. Minnett.
My housekeeper.
The witch.
With a little shudder.
The witch.
Oliver to Hillgrove.
My wife is afraid that we are under some sort of spell, enchantment. She got it on her brain. It sounds ridiculous.
Laura is starting.
Hark!
Clutching at her heart.
What's that?
Oliver, turning his head towards the window, after a pause.
Rain!
Going to her.
Thought we should have it.
When?
Oliver to Hillgrove.
When did the change begin?
Hillgrove nods blankly.
Yesterday week.
On our homecoming.
After our marriage.
Almost as soon as we set foot in the cottage.
Oliver, glancing over his shoulder at the front door.
She was at the door to welcome us. The open door.
Mrs. Minnett.
She seemed as if she couldn't take her eyes off us, wherever we moved.
Cowering at the sound of distant thunder.
Oh!
Oliver sitting beside her and holding her hand again, protectingly, to Hillgrove.
That's when the change began. It was gradual.
Laura nestling up to him.
Yes, it wasn't till we had finished dinner and the lamps were lighted and we were left to ourselves.
Oliver pressing her to him.
It wasn't till then that I felt sure that Laura was positively pretty.
And I of the marvelous alteration in Oliver.
I'd noticed earlier in the evening, before she went upstairs to dress for dinner, that she was no longer.
Laura, her lips to his ear.
No longer hideous.
Shh, you were never that.
Major Hillgrove knows better. Don't you, Major Hillgrove?
I?
You guessed I was exceedingly plain the day we first met. You told Oliver so. Confess.
Oliver, as Hillgrove, abashed, bows his head.
But it was the next morning, over the breakfast table, that I saw clearly that my wife was more than merely pretty. I own I was flabbergasted. The hollows had gone from her cheeks, and she had the color of a ripe cherry, and her arms, which used to be much poor, lean little things,
like drumsticks.
Jumping up and advancing to the middle of the room.
You remember, Major Hillgrove? You must remember how bony my arm was when I marched you down from Fittlehurst House to make your call on Oliver.
Drawing up her sleeve as far as possible and surveying her arm proudly.
Now Oliver says they are as smooth and as plump.
There is another and a nearer rumble of thunder, and again she utters a cry of terror.
Oh!
Oliver rises and hurries to her, and clinging to him, she lays her head on his breast.
Oh, I'm frightened! I'm frightened! I'm frightened!
Hillgrove, after the noise of the thunder has ceased.
But why should you be frightened, Mrs. Bashforth? What is there to be alarmed about?
What is there? Confound it, Hillgrove, if Mrs. Minnett is a witch.
Laura, raising her head.
Shh! Take care!
Running into the entrance hall and peering along the passage again.
Take care!
Oliver, going to Hillgrove.
If Mrs. Minnett is a witch, and the change in us is her doing, of course I don't believe it myself. I'm not as credulous as that.
Laura, rejoining Oliver.
If she is a witch, and our transformation is owing to sorcery, what she can give, she can take away.
Exactly. Stands to reason.
Supposing I offended Mrs. Minnett, or Oliver did. It's easy to offend without meaning to.
Witches were mischievous people, weren't they, in olden times?
Picking at his nails.
Suppose, for the sake of argument, suppose this woman does possess, what's the name of it?
Supernatural power.
She may be playing off some devilish trick on us.
Anyhow, we're most awkwardly situated. The Fittlehurst folks have accustomed themselves to regard me as the ugliest person in the district.
And me, the little while I've been among 'em, as a helpless wreck of a fellow, to be pitied and condoled with.
They'll hate to have their settled ideas disturbed.
Loathe it.
It's really very hard on us.
We only married each other for mutual consolation, to keep each other in countenance, as it were.
For companionship, simply.
It's the biggest sell on record.
Laura, leaving Oliver and walking about ecstatically.
And yet I'm glad to be lovely, for Oliver's sake.
Comes to that, I'm glad that Laura should have a husband who is fairly presentable.
I could summon up courage to show myself in the village if I were certain I am to remain beautiful.
Precisely. That's the point.
It's the uncertainty that's so perplexing.
Damnable. And we daren't leave Fittlehurst. It would be such a slight on Mrs. Minnett.
Laura, returning to Oliver, who has moved to the settee.
The moment we left the cottage, we might find ourselves losing our good looks.
Altogether, the position is, it's unique.
A flash of lightning is seen through the window curtains.
Oh.
To Hillgrove, standing between him and Oliver.
Advise us, Major Hillgrove.
Give us your advice, old man.
Laura, stretching out her hands in appeal.
Major Hillgrove.
A mighty burst of thunder crashes over the roof of the cottage, and with a shriek, Laura throws herself into Oliver's arms. At the same moment, Mrs. Minnett appears in the entrance hall, carrying a tray on which are a siphon of soda water and some tumblers. She remains there as motionless as a statue, till the thunder subsides, and then advances softly to the farther end of the refectory table. Mrs. Minnett setting the tray on the table, to Hillgrove.
You guessed there'd be a storm, sir.
Laura, startled at discovering that Mrs. Minnett is in the room.
Ah!
Mrs. Minnett to Hillgrove.
You were right.
Oliver places Laura in the chair on the right of the round table and turns away to the dresser. Mrs. Minnett to Laura.
Don't be nervous, ma'am. That's the worst crash you'll hear tonight.
Withdrawing.
It's passing over us. It's passing over us.
Out of sight.
It's passing over us.
Oliver has opened a drawer in the dresser and taken out a decanter of whiskey. He now tiptoes into the entrance hall and looks along the passage towards the kitchen. Again, a flash of lightning is seen through the curtains. Oliver, coming to the refectory table and putting the decanter on the tray.
She's gone.
Once more the thunder peals, but a little farther off, as Hillgrove gets to his feet. Hillgrove groping across the room to Laura.
Mrs. Bashforth?
Oh, how silly I am. Forgive me, Major Hillgrove.
Mrs. Bashforth, you asked for my advice.
Oliver comes to him and guides him by touching his arm.
You and your husband? Listen to me, both of you. Put out of your heads your foolish suspicion of this poor half-crazy woman. Put it out of your heads completely.
To Oliver.
Bashforth?
Oh, as for me, I've told you the notion's entirely Laura's. The idea would never have struck me.
Oliver, you sneak!
To Hillgrove.
You put it into my head, Major Hillgrove. You're to blame.
Yes, the blame's mine. It was stupid of me, unfeeling, to amuse myself by weaving a fanciful, an evil romance out of what I heard from whisperer and idle talk. I regret it.
Oliver thoughtfully knitting his brows.
Even my stepfather, said she reminded him of one of the witches in, what do you call it?
There is a final roll of thunder in the distance. Laura rising.
In Macbeth.
Through the growl of the thunder.
The weird sisters hand in hand.
Waving her arms in mimicry and croaking.
When shall we three meet again in thunder, lightning, or in rain?
Oliver to Hillgrove.
If it isn't Mrs. Minnett, what is it? There must be some explanation.
There must be some explanation.
If you could only see us, Hillgrove.
If you could only see us.
You do hear the difference in us, don't you?
You do hear the difference?
Hillgrove inclining his head solemnly.
I hear.
Very well, then.
Very well, then.
Very well, then. I say take the gift and enjoy it without question. Take it without question and without apprehension that you will ever be robbed of it. Accept it humbly as a heaven-sent miracle and thank God for it on your bended knees.
Laura, partly in awe, partly in incredulity.
A heaven-sent miracle?
Why, do you think?
Think? I know. I know.
Raising himself to his full height and drawing a deep breath.
I, too, am waiting.
Laura, after a short silence, taking his hand with extreme gentleness.
Dear Major Hillgrove.
Oliver, taking his other hand.
Dear old chap.
Hillgrove suddenly breaking into a cheery laugh.
Is it still raining?
As Oliver goes to the front door and opens it.
I promised Whisperer I'd smoke a pipe with him before bedtime.
Oliver, looking into the darkness.
No, it stopped.
leaving the door open and coming to the farther end of the refectory table.
Drink to our happiness, Hillgrove, before you turn out.
Indeed I will.
Moving towards Oliver, steered by Laura.
Not too fiery, though.
Oliver mixing a whiskey and a soda.
Hillgrove?
Hello?
My mother and Rupert, the step, are coming down tomorrow to inspect Laura. I wish to goodness you'd be there.
I?
Yes.
3 o'clock they're due.
To Laura.
And we'll ask the rector and Mrs. Corsellis. It may curb the mater's exuberance if she finds us fenced in by a crowd.
The rector?
We can trust the Corsellises to hold their tongues till we've decided on the line of action.
To Hillgrove, handing him his drink.
You'll come?
Have you told your people?
Oliver shaking his head.
No. And the fun of it is that when I wrote to them the day before my marriage, I informed them I'd deliberately selected a wife who was...
absolutely repellent.
Who wasn't outwardly attractive, at any rate.
But who could be relied upon to nurse and cuddle a sick man?
Oh, the position's unique, Hillgrove.
Well, I'll be with you tomorrow if you think my presence will make things easier for you.
Oh, thank you, Major Hillgrove.
Good egg.
Hillgrove raising his glass.
Here's to you, my children.
He drinks.
You have given me the biggest startler I've ever had in my life.
He drinks again.
I shan't sleep a wink tonight. Not a single wink.
He drains his glass.
I'll be off.
Returning the glass to Oliver.
My traps?
Oliver replaces the glass on the tray, and he and Laura help Hillgrove into his cape. They all move to the middle of the room.
Phew. I should dearly like to impart these strange happenings to Eddie Wisborough, but of course I won't breathe a syllable on the subject.
Putting on his gloves.
How excited he'd be! How...
A thought striking him.
By the by, Mrs. Bashforth, and you, Bashforth, whether you stick to Fittlehurst or not, don't omit to preserve a tradition by scratching your names on one of the panes of the window in this room. You mustn't forget that.
Scratch our names?
On the window?
You've noticed the string of names scratched there?
Yes.
Yes.
They're the names of your predecessors, young men and women who have spent their honeymoons within these walls for generations back. This hasn't always been a cottage, I dare say you've heard.
No, I've heard it was once a much larger house, a mansion.
The dower house of the Wisborers. It was ravaged by fire years ago and never wholly restored. Eddie Wisborough's father made a cottage of the remains.
I remember Beasley, Wisborough's agent, telling me.
There are plenty of traces of its former grandeur if you look for them.
Gesturing vaguely.
The mullioned window belonged to the original building, and the fireplace, and some of the timbers.
And used the old house to be lent to newly wedded couples?
Hillgrove nodding.
From time immemorial, a custom of the family.
Oliver goes to the window and, drawing the curtains aside, examines the diamond-shaped panes.
An appropriate spot, this, Mrs. Bashforth, for what has occurred to you and your husband? Just imagine the wealth of manly grace and girlish beauty this ancient casket has held in its day.
Oliver deciphering the writing on the window.
Here's a Ralph and an Eleanor.
And the low, sweet utterances it has hearkened to, eh?
And an Edward, and Margaret, and John, and Charlotte.
Hillgrove to Laura.
Get hold of Rigg for me, will you?
Laura runs to the bell push, which is beside the fireplace, and presses it, as Oliver leaves the window and brings Hillgrove his cap and stick. Oliver giving Hillgrove his cap.
3 o'clock tomorrow.
Hillgrove putting on his cap.
3 o'clock.
Oliver giving him his stick.
Earlier, if you can manage it.
Laura at Hillgrove's side again.
In case the Corsellises should be late, don't let us be alone by any chance when Mr. and Mrs. Smallwood arrive.
Mrs. Minnett appears at the mouth of the passage. Hearing her footfall, Oliver and Laura involuntarily shrink into themselves. Oliver not turning.
Major Hillgrove is ready, Mrs. Minnett.
Mrs. Minnett vanishing.
I'll send Mr. Rigg, sir.
Oliver shaking hands with Hillgrove.
Good night, Hillgrove. Thanks awfully.
Good night.
Laura shaking hands with Hillgrove.
Good night, Major Hillgrove. We're so grateful to you for your kindness to us.
Good night, Mrs. Bashforth.
Laura.
Good night, Laura.
Smiling.
Pleasant dreams to you while I'm lying awake. May cherubs guard your pillow.
Rigg enters from the passage and comes smartly to Hillgrove. To avoid being observed, Oliver turns hastily to the window and redraws the curtains, while Laura, her back to Rigg, busies herself with putting her needlework into her work-bag. Rigg to Hillgrove.
Here, sir.
Rigg?
Yes, sir.
Having put on his cap, he produces an electric torch from his pocket and switches on the light. He then offers his arm to Hillgrove.
My arm, sir.
Hillgrove moving with Rigg to the front door.
Quite a sharp storm, Rigg.
Very, sir. Clear the air, sir.
Hillgrove to Laura and Oliver.
Good night again.
Good night, Major Hillgrove.
Good night.
Rigg at the door to Laura and Oliver.
Good night, Mom. Good night, sir.
Good night.
Good night.
Immediately, Hillgrove and Rigg have disappeared. Laura and Oliver run to the front door and call after them.
Mind the mounting block in the drive, Rigg.
Rigg out of sight.
Right you are, Mom.
And the ditch on the left of the road.
Rigg farther away.
Thank ye. I've got a light, sir.
Hillgrove in the distance.
Whoop!
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 Laura leaving the door and coming forward. Her laughter dies out as Oliver shuts the door and joins her. They stand facing each other for a while, doubtfully.
Well, old lady.
Well, dearest?
Blessed of Hillgrove has made matters much clearer to me.
You don't believe in his theory?
A heaven-sent miracle?
You don't believe in it.
Do you?
Laura raising and dropping her hands.
I'm puzzled what to believe.
And I.
Laura, after a fearful glance in the direction of the kitchen.
Anyhow, whether our transmogrification is the result of witchcraft or is a gracious act of Providence, it is equally a miracle.
True.
Laura creeping nearer to him.
So, for the peace of our souls, shall we agree to do as Major Hillgrove counsels us? Accept the gift in a cheerful spirit?
Jolly well enjoy it?
Enjoy it, revel in it. Above all, cease worrying about what is beyond our ken.
Yes, I suppose we'd better let it go at that.
Laura laying her head upon his breast.
Yes. Let it go at that.
He folds her to him, and their lips meet in a lingering kiss.
Oh, my love, my love.
My love.
Laura releasing herself. Her arms uplifted.
Make the most of what we yet may spend, before we too into the dust descend.
To Oliver.
Omar.
Oliver elevating his eyebrows.
Who's he?
Laura skipping to the refectory table and mixing a drink for Oliver.
A pagan gentleman who approves of your having a stiff drink for a nightcap. Oliver!
Oliver going to the small table near the left-hand corner of the room and loading a pipe.
Eh?
Oh, Oliver, I want to be married all over again.
Good Lord, what for?
Not in an almost empty church, you goose, with my stolid old landlady and her husband as witnesses, and Mrs. Corsellis as sole spectator. Now that I am beautiful, and you are handsome, I want to have a grand wedding, with a bevy of bridesmaids, and a page to carry my tale, and a best man for you, and a heap of guests in the pews craning their necks to catch a glimpse of us.
Oliver lighting his pipe.
Much obliged, I'm sure.
Laura leaving the table, the tumbler in her hand.
And I want to be married by a bishop. A grave, portly bishop in lawn sleeves and all the rest of it. The bishop of anywhere you please, merely assisted, by the Reverend Charles Corsellis, Rector of Fittlehurst.
Oliver coming to her, smoking his pipe contentedly.
Anything else?
Laura taking a sip from the tumbler, making a wry face, and then giving the glass to Oliver.
Certainly. I want to wear a dress of ivory satin charmeuse, with a train of white and silver brocade, lined with silver tissue, and a Honiton lace veil, and a magnificent pearl necklet, a present from the bridegroom.
Drinking.
Cat.
And to carry a bouquet of white carnations and lilies of the valley, the hugest bouquet ever seen.
Going to the window and holding the curtains apart.
Oliver, I wonder if the shades of these poor departed lovers could revisit the scene of their happiness. I wonder what they would think of us. Would they smile benignly on us, or would they shake their sides and grin and mock?
Oliver finishing his drink and putting the empty glass on the round table.
Mock. Why should they mock?
Laura gazing at the window panes steadily.
Dust unto dust, and under dust to lie, sans wine, sans song, sans singer, and sans end.
Oliver turning out the light of the lamp on the round table.
Shut up, Laura.
Laura half curtsying to the window.
Good night, Ralph and Eleanor and Margaret and every one of you. I do hope you consider Oliver and me worthy to fill your places.
Oliver going to the front door.
You'll have a horrible nightmare if you're not careful.
Laura dropping the curtains with a laugh and a shiver. She picks up the decanter and goes with it to the dresser as Oliver turns the key in the lock and fumbles for the chain. Oliver rattling the chain.
It wouldn't do for you to have tired eyes tomorrow, sweetheart.
Laura putting the decanter back into the dresser drawer.
Tomorrow. How I dread the ordeal. I dread it.
Soon be over.
Securing the chain.
And you're bound to captivate 'em after they've recovered from the shock of their astonishment.
Bolting the door.
Bound to.
Laura shutting the drawer and gathering up her hat, veil, and cloak from the chair behind the round table with a twinkle.
Will your stepfather slaughter any more fowls on his way down, Oliver?
Oliver turning out the light of the lamp on the writing table.
Highly probable. Depends on whether he drives the blessed old car himself.
Going to the table in the entrance hall and lighting the 2 candles.
I say, Laura.
Yes, my man?
Oliver still smoking.
When the mater discovers she has a daughter-in-law she can be proud of, shouldn't she be surprised if she's keener than ever on getting me back to London?
Oh, Oliver!
Bet you.
Lighting the 2nd candle.
And come to think of it, we should be wasting our sweetness on the desert air here, shouldn't we?
Laura in a quiver.
Oh, but I haven't the manner, the style of a London woman. Ollie never could acquire it.
Oliver turning out the light of the lamp on the table.
Trust not. Your charm lies in your freshness, freedom from rotten affectations.
Coming to her, pipe in mouth, carrying the 2 candlesticks.
Combined with your beauty, old lady, the novelty of you would be irresistible.
Laura taking one of the candlesticks from him.
We won't talk about it tonight. It's agitating.
Oliver removing his pipe and gazing at her ardently.
No, in the morning. early.
When we first wake.
When the sun streams into the room and the birds are busy.
That's the time for talking.
There is a short silence, during which they contemplate the wicks of their candles. Oliver stirring himself.
Ready?
Yes.
They go to the staircase, and side by side slowly ascend the stairs and disappear, leaving both the entrance hall and the inner hall in total darkness. A minute or so elapses, and then Mrs. Minnett, with cat-like steps and furtive movements, enters from the passage, carrying a lighted candle in a flat candlestick. After a searching look round, she stands her candlestick on the writing-table, putting her hand through the division of the window curtains, satisfies herself that the casements are fastened. This done, she takes up the candlestick and goes to the front door, where she is heard trying the lock, chain, and bolt. Finally, she too slowly ascends the stairs, and again there is complete darkness and stillness, lasting an appreciable time. Then, all of a sudden, a number of tiny specks of light, resembling stars, gleam and flicker on the walls, and in a little while the air becomes filled with the strains of languorous music, and gradually everything is suffused with the misty pallor of dreamland, and one by one the stars fade and expire. Presently, without a sound, the front door swings open, and after a pause a handsome young man and woman, richly apparelled in the dress of the Tudor period, enter loiteringly and lovingly. When they reach the centre of the arch, they separate, she with her head bent, coming toward the round table, and toying with Laura's work-bag, he going to the door, and with a clatter locking, chaining, and bolting it. Returning to her, he touches her lightly upon the shoulder, and in response she raises her lips to his, and they embrace passionately. Then, his arm encircling her waist, they walk to the staircase, and they also ascend the stairs and disappear. The music now changes to a livelier note, and again the door opens noiselessly. A rosy-cheeked, ringleted young woman darts in from the garden, pursued by a young man. They are in the dress of the reign of Charles II, and are a gallant-looking pair. Her arms are laden with flowers, and as she flees from him laughingly, she bombards him with the blossoms. She dodges him from behind the settee, then from behind the refectory table. But ultimately he overtakes and seizes her, and panting she yields her lips to his. Then, exhausted by the struggle, their arms linked and their heads close together, they, too, slowly go up the stairs and pass out of sight. Scarcely have they vanished, when another couple enter, this time a mere boy and girl in the dress of 1830 or thereabouts. The girl is pretty, fresh-coloured, and demure, the boy awkward and sheepish. Each is shy of the other. With downcast eyes they wander about aimlessly, until it strikes the boy to remove a ring from his finger and to go to the window. The curtains fly apart at his approach, and kneeling on the window seat, he proceeds to scrawl upon one of the panes with the stone of his ring. The girl watches him for a while, and then, impelled by curiosity, creeps to his side. Finding her there, he summons up courage to kiss her brow, whereat, startled and affronted, she moves away quickly. With a scared face he hurries to her, the curtains closing of their own accord as he leaves the window, and they meet at the foot of the staircase. Forbidding him by a prim gesture to accompany her, she ascends the stairs alone. But after a moment of irresolution, he follows her, and they also pass out of sight. As they disappear, the music again changes its character, and the lid of the oak coffer rises, and out of the chest swarm a troop of bare-limbed children, winged like cherubs. Joining hands, they dance in a circle gleefully, after which they scamper up the stairs as fast as their little legs will carry them. Then the light darkens to a bluish haze, and the interior of the fireplace is illumined by a red glow, and a batch of agile, dwarfish creatures with long pointed ears and evil faces topple down the chimney. Scurrying hither and thither, they play all sorts of impish tricks, rolling over the settee, leaping on the chairs and tables, rummaging Laura's work-bag, and scattering its contents, and monkeying with the objects on the dresser. They are interrupted in their gambols by a rumble of thunder, and at that they huddle together, and, stealing to the mouth of the passage, peer expectantly in the direction of the kitchen. There is a flash of lightning in the passage, as Mrs. Minnett, in the traditional garb of Mother Shipton, the scarlet cloak and steeple hat described by Hillgrove in his talk with Laura in the first act, rides in on a broomstick. Followed by the little people, she careers round and round, and then the thunder increases, and two bearded hags, so withered and so wild in their attire, spring from between the window curtains. Mrs. Minnett hails them with a screech of delight, and the three gather about the refectory table, the little people eyeing their proceedings gloatingly from a distance. The flowers in the bowl on the table burst into flame as Mrs. Minnett casts an invisible substance into the bowl. The three witches together.
Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble.
The music changes abruptly to a melody which is half tender, half triumphant, and the witches, each at once her choppy finger laying upon her skinny lips, start and listen. Then the light resumes its pale glamour, and the witches, discomfited, scuttle away swiftly along the passage, while the little people retreat in confusion to the fireplace, where they vanish. Very soon there is a stir upon the staircase, and down the stairs, preceded by some of the cherubs, and followed by the rest, one of whom acts as a train-bearer, comes Laura, in the wedding dress of ivory satin charmeuse, with the train of white and silver brocade, and wearing the Honiton lace veil and the pearl necklet, and carrying the bouquet of white carnations and lilies of the valley, the hugest bouquet ever seen. 3 exceedingly pretty bridesmaids complete the procession, and all advance into the inner hall. There the cherubs, with the exception of the cherub who is holding the train, perform another little dance, after which, leaving the train-bearer behind them, they run to the oaken coffer and clamber into it, and disappear. At that moment a 4th bridesmaid, dressed like the others, enters at the front door and walks majestically to Laura, a tall girl with a nose as monstrous and as grotesque as Cyrano de Bergerac. The girl to Laura.
Sorry I'm late, but my father would drive the car.
Laura, staring at her open-mouthed.
It's very kind of you to be one of my bridesmaids, Ethel.
You are looking at my nose?
Yes.
The girl sniffing.
Everybody does.
Joining the other bridesmaids.
A large nose is a sign of high intelligence.
Mrs. Smallwood, very smartly gowned, enters at the front door. Smallwood, in a frock coat, white waistcoat, lavender trousers, and lemon-colored gloves, and with an enormous camellia in his buttonhole, follows her. He is carrying, with their heads downward, the corpses of 3 fowls. Mrs. Smallwood goes to Laura and kisses her with great empressement. Laura to Mrs. Smallwood eagerly.
You think I'm beautiful?
Perfectly.
Joining the bridesmaids.
Perfectly beautiful.
Smallwood coming to Laura, and with a steady bow presenting her with the fowls.
Pray accept these as a token of affection and goodwill.
Laura handing her bouquet to one of the bridesmaids.
Oh!
Taking the fowls from Smallwood.
Thank you. They are charming. You think I am beautiful?
More.
Joining Mrs. Smallwood and the bridesmaids.
More than beautiful.
Laura consigns the fowls to another of the bridesmaids, as Mrs. Corsellis, in rich silk and furbelows, enters at the front door. She is followed by her 7 children, 3 boys and 4 girls of varying heights, and after a short interval by Corsellis. The latter is robed as a bishop. Mrs. Corsellis comes to Laura and kisses her. Mrs. Corsellis, with a mixture of dignity and condescension.
What a superb day for your wedding, dear Laura.
You think I'm beautiful?
The virtuous are always beautiful, my child.
Marshalling her children in front of her, she turns away and enthrones herself in the chair at the nearer end of the refectory table. The children range themselves solemnly on the right of the table as Corsellis advances to Laura. Laura viewing Corsellis with mingled awe and gratification.
Oh, Rector! My lord, I'm so glad they've made you a bishop.
Corsellis, after a glance at his offspring, tapping upon his teeth.
Yes. There will be less difficulty about the children's boots and shoes now.
Do you admire my beauty?
Corsellis regarding her with an expressionless face.
Eh? Oh, certainly.
Putting his fingertips together.
But, though we ought not to despise external comeliness, we must beware of ranking it above the more abiding gifts of disposition and character.
Folding his hands on his stomach, he walks with measured tread to where the Smallwoods and the bridesmaids are congregated. As Corsellis moves away from Laura, Hillgrove enters at the front door with a firm, confident step. He is in khaki, with the ribbons of his orders on his breast, and his eyes are large and brilliant. He comes to Laura, and after saluting her in military fashion, raises her hand to his lips. Laura beaming upon him.
Oh, Major Hillgrove, I am pleased that you can see.
He bows to her smilingly.
Don't you think I am very, very beautiful?
He bows again.
Far, far beyond what you imagined me to be when you could only hear?
He gives her another bow and makes way for Oliver, who strides in at that moment. Oliver also in khaki, but his clothes are soiled and ragged, his boots heavily caked with mud, and his handsome face is burnt to brick color. He goes straight to Laura and stands before her. Laura gazing at him as though he were a stranger.
You have just come from the trenches?
Oliver nodding.
Yes.
That muffler round your neck, does it comfort you?
Oliver nodding.
Yes.
It's one I have knitted and sent out.
God bless you.
Laura gently stroking the muffler.
Through the dreary nights and the long watches, do you ever conjure up pictures of fair women?
Sometimes.
Have you ever pictured one fairer than I?
Oliver shaking his head.
Never.
You may marry me, if you like.
Displaying her dress.
I am quite ready, as you perceive. Go home and change your clothes, and we'll meet at the church.
Proffering her cheek.
Kiss me.
The music becomes loud and turbulent as he draws her to him and kisses her. And immediately there is a tremendous clap of thunder, and a thick murk envelops everything and everybody. Lightning flashes again and again from different parts of the entrance hall and the inner hall, and again intermittently the red glow shines in the fireplace, and the flowers flame in the bowl on the refectory table. Stumbling down the stairs in wild terror come the 3 pairs of lovers, and the cherubs issue panic-stricken from the oaken chest. The lovers make their escape, but the others, like people in a burning building who have lost their bearings, move about frantically. The 7 children clinging to their mother, the bridesmaids to Corsellis and Mr. and Mrs. Smallwood. At length Hillgrove, uttering a cry of triumph, finds the front door. Feeling his way blindly, Oliver half leads, half carries Laura to the door, and helter-skelter the rest follow. Then a still denser fog cloud descends, obscuring the entrance hall completely, and the 3 witches bound in from the fireplace, the impish dwarfs at their heels. Surrounded by the imps, the witches dance and caper exultingly, ending by rushing to the window and leaping through the curtains, the imps after them. Then once more the music softens, and one by one the stars reappear and twinkle, and by there is a bright rift in the fog cloud, through which is seen a vision of a gleaming white bed, and Laura and Oliver are lying in it fast asleep, locked in each other's arms. End of the 2nd act. Act 3 of The Enchanted Cottage by Arthur Wing Pinero. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The third act, Eternal Truth. The scene is the same. The time, afternoon. Sunlight pours in at the window. The front door is closed. The flower bowls are in their original places, and Laura's workbag is still on the round table. As at the beginning of the previous act, there is nobody in the inner hall or the entrance hall, and again, after a while, the front doorbell is heard to ring, and Mrs. Minnett, in her black dress and white apron, comes into the entrance hall from the passage and opens the door to find Hillgrove and Rigg on the doorstep. Mrs. Minnett's movements are now extremely drooping and feeble. She appears to be almost at the point of collapse. Rigg outside.
Good afternoon, Ma'am.
Good afternoon, Mr. Rigg.
Ah, Mrs. Minnett. Splendid weather.
It is indeed, sir.
Shrinking against the wall so that the two men may pass her.
Please come in and sit down.
Hillgrove and Rigg enter and advance into the inner hall, and Mrs. Minnett closes the door.
Mr. and Mrs. Bashforth are upstairs, sir.
Going with dragging feet to the staircase.
I'll let them know you're here.
Hillgrove, as she labors up the stairs, taking off his gloves.
Thank you. Thank you.
Rigg, who has been eyeing Mrs. Minnett curiously, to Hillgrove when she is out of sight.
That good lady doesn't seem to be quite up to the mark today, sir.
No, she sounds rather out of sorts, poor thing.
Putting his gloves into his pocket.
More so than usual.
Rigg conducting Hillgrove to the settee.
Sofa, sir.
Hillgrove tapping the settee with his stick.
I don't think you need wait for me, Rigg.
Very good, sir.
Hillgrove seating himself.
Come back at 4 o'clock or a little later and hang about in the garden.
Certainly, sir.
Receiving Hillgrove's hat and stick from him and laying them on the rounded table.
That'll just give me time to have another go at sharpening them razor blades, sir.
Hillgrove dabbing his forehead with his handkerchief.
Yes, and don't cut those precious fingers of yours as you did on the last occasion. You haven't too many of them.
Rigg returning to the front door, grinning.
Try not to, sir.
Rigg to Mrs. Minnett, who, clutching the banisters, is descending the stairs.
I'm coming back later on, Ma'am.
All right, Mr. Rigg.
Rigg departs, shutting the door after him, and Mrs. Minnett advances to Hillgrove.
Mr. and Mrs. Bashforth will be down directly, sir.
He nods.
She's putting on another of her brand-new frocks in honor of her company. The last of the smart frocks she had made at Petborough before her marriage.
Hillgrove, smiling.
Ah, no woman is content, Mrs. Minnett, as long as she has an unworn dress in her wardrobe.
Mrs. Minnett wringing her hands.
If she did but know it, she'd look just as well in one of the gowns she used to run about the village in, doing kindnesses to the old and the sick. She'd look just as well in one of her ordinary gowns.
Why, that applies to any pretty woman, Mrs. Minnett. Come nearer. I want to speak to you.
Mrs. Minnett obeying him.
Yes, sir?
You have eyes in your head, Mrs. Minnett. You must have noticed. Tell me, leaving her dress out of the question, how is Mrs. Bashforth looking this afternoon? Brilliant, eh? And Mr. Bashforth?
Mrs. Minnett clasping her temples and feigning a laugh.
Oh, you oughtn't to ask me, sir. I'm only a servant, and it's not my place to take notice or pass remarks.
Not to Tom, Dick, or Harry, but...
I beg pardon for saying as much as I have said.
Stiffening herself suddenly and listening.
Shh! They're coming.
Going swiftly, but totteringly, to the mouth of the passage.
They're coming.
She disappears, and presently Laura and Oliver hurry down the stairs. Laura presents an enchanting figure in her new frock, simple and inexpensive as it is, while Oliver, who is also in his best bib and tucker, is even handsomer and more stalwart than before. Laura rushes to Hillgrove, who gets to his feet and seizes his hands.
Dear Major Hillgrove.
Thought you'd forgotten us, old chap.
Am I late?
Disgracefully.
Oliver, glancing at the clock.
Our crowd's due at 3. It's nearly that now.
Peccavi.
Reseating himself.
Wisborough had some people to lunch. I couldn't get away.
Laura to Oliver.
Lock the front door, Oliver.
Oliver runs to the door and turns the key in the lock.
We don't want to be caught.
By Jove, no. You start instructing Hillgrove, Laura.
Laura to Hillgrove.
Oliver and I have a plan, Major Hillgrove. We so hope you'll fall in with it.
A plan?
It's this.
Oliver, who has returned to the inner hall.
It's Laura's idea. She suggested it.
Laura to Hillgrove.
We want you to explain to Oliver's mother and stepfather and to Mr. and Mrs. Corsellis exactly what has happened to us.
The miracle, Hillgrove. We want you to describe it.
Hillgrove, somewhat staggered.
Me?
While we are waiting upstairs, ready to be summoned.
Sitting in the chair on the right of the round table.
Oh, do, Major Hillgrove.
Oliver, sitting in the chair on the left of the refectory table.
Pray oblige us. There's a good fellow.
The fact is, we don't mind confessing it to you.
We're nervous.
Shockingly.
Agitated.
My heart's beating 1,000 to the minute.
In any event, there's bound to be a scene of excitement and flurry. We recognize that.
But if they were all prepared for the revelation, if it was led up to...
If the edge could be taken off their surprise, as it were...
It would save us a little of the
uncomfortableness.
The embarrassment. A tiny bit.
Oliver, looking at Hillgrove.
What's the verdict? You'll do it?
Laura to Hillgrove.
Like the friend you proved yourself to be?
You'll take the job on, Hillgrove.
Hillgrove, mopping his brow again.
Phew.
It'll have to be most carefully done.
Not blurted out, of course.
Laura to Oliver.
As if Major Hillgrove would, Oliver.
Oliver waving a hand.
I merely mentioned.
Laura to Hillgrove.
Our proposal is that Oliver and I should retire upstairs at once.
And shut ourselves in a bedroom.
Where we couldn't hear anything of what's going on down below.
Not a blooming sound.
Yes, I've already grasped that part of the scheme. You're scuttering into your burrows like a couple of rabbits, leaving me to face the music. That's perfectly clear.
Dash it, Hillgrove. Don't be rough on us. Confound it.
Laura to Oliver.
Shh. Ollie.
'Tisn't as though I was asking a favor entirely for myself.
Oliver.
Damned ungracious, I call it.
Laura to Hillgrove.
No.
If Hillgrove were in a similar position...
Laura, her mouth quivering.
If Major Hillgrove were similarly placed, Oliver, probably we should hesitate to...
Searching for her handkerchief.
Oh, how stupid I am!
Oliver rising and hastening to Laura.
Heavens, darling, you mustn't cry. You'll disfigure yourself.
Hillgrove penitently.
Oh, my dear Mrs. Bashforth.
Oliver glaring at Hillgrove.
Now I hope you're satisfied, Hillgrove.
I'm sorry.
Oliver, while Laura is blowing her nose.
If it was your wish that my wife should have a red nose on this day of all others...
I'm sorry. You see, Bashforth, and you, Laura. Well, see, the difficulty is I'm a complete stranger to Mr. and Mrs. Small something.
Wood.
Smallwood. Haven't had the pleasure of their acquaintance.
Laura winningly through her tears.
But you have the pleasure of our acquaintance.
Obviously.
That won't introduce me to them in your absence.
If the Corsellises arrive first, they will introduce you. You know them.
And if Mr. and Mrs. Smallwood are the first to arrive, you introduce yourself.
Why create obstacles, dear old man? Why create obstacles?
Hillgrove throwing his head back and laughing.
You two people can twist me round your little finger. I suppose I'd better give in.
Ah!
Jumping up.
You're the sweetest person in the world, Major Hillgrove. You are. Don't deny it.
Tripping away to the window and then to the farther end of the refectory table.
Isn't he, Oliver?
Yes, there isn't much the matter with Hillgrove.
Oliver laying a hand on Hillgrove's shoulder.
You must excuse me for being a trifle huffy with you, old chap. Lord, no wonder I'm irritable. Mrs. Minnett, on top of everything, bother the woman. She's worrying us afresh.
Hillgrove reverting to his more serious manner.
Yes. What on earth is wrong with Mrs. Minnett today?
Laura advancing and joining Oliver.
I'm afraid she's very ill, Major Hillgrove.
Oliver to Hillgrove with an uneasy look.
What's she been saying to you, Hillgrove?
Nothing of importance, but she seems queerer than ever.
Oliver knitted his brows.
When I announced this morning that my mother and the step were coming down, I thought she was going to topple over. I did, really.
To Laura.
And afterwards, when you went into the kitchen...
She was standing by the table, shivering, as white as a sheet.
And when you told her that the Corsellises would be here too...
She stared at me as if I was talking gibberish.
Imitating a gesture of despair.
And then she raised her arms and walked straight out without a word, into the woodshed, and there I heard her moaning.
Hillgrove smoothing his hair in a puzzled way.
Why should Mrs. Minnett be upset because Mr. and Mrs. Smallwood and the rector and his wife...
Can't fathom it.
If it is that...
Oliver moving restlessly to the other side of the room.
Anyhow, jolly hard lines that we should be upset just when we want to be at our best.
Awfully hard lines. And I had a harrowing dream last night that has fatigued me dreadfully.
Shh. Don't distress yourselves. Keep calm. You are at your best, both of you. You, Laura, in spite of your fatigue, and you, Bashforth.
Laura going to him and seizing his hands again.
Oh, bless you, Major Hillgrove, bless you!
All smiles.
You hear, don't you?
Oliver perking up.
You hear, Hillgrove?
Yes, my dears, I hear.
Nodding.
I hear.
As in the first act, a motor horn hoots at a short distance from the house, the hoots growing more emphatic with repetition and ending in a prolonged series of screeches. Oliver and Laura start, and she clutches at him.
Oh!
The matter in the step?
Laura flying to the foot of the stairs.
Come!
Oliver to Hillgrove.
When you're ready for us, whack the gong by the front door. Whack it for all you're worth.
He runs after Laura, and together they scurry up the stairs. Presently the outer handle of the front door is turned and rattled, as if by somebody desiring to enter, and then there is the sound of the ringing of the doorbell. At first the ringing is almost continuous, and in a few moments Mrs. Minnet's scared face is seen to peep into the inner hall from the mouth of the passage. Hillgrove, during a lull in the ringing.
That you, Mrs. Minnett?
Mrs. Minnett, coming forward and staring about her, astonished at finding Hillgrove alone.
Yes, sir.
Mr. and Mrs. Bashforth are upstairs. Don't call them.
Mrs. Minnett holding her heart.
Very well, sir.
The bell is rung again, impatiently.
The door is locked. Open it.
Like a person in a trance, Mrs. Minnett goes to the door and unlocks and opens it. Mrs. Smallwood is outside, her thumb on the bell-push. She is dressed very much as on the occasion of her previous visit.
Good gracious, Mrs. Manders, you're not troubled with burglars in these parts, surely?
Passing Mrs. Minnett and sweeping in.
I should have thought that if there was one spot of the universe that's burglar-proof.
Encountering Hillgrove, who rises.
Oh.
Mrs. Smallwood, is it?
Mrs. Smallwood, gazing at him narrowly.
Yes.
Mrs. Minnett, approaching Mrs. Smallwood and touching her sleeve.
Major Hillgrove, ma'am.
Confirming Mrs. Smallwood's suspicions by pointing to Hillgrove's closed lids and then at her own eyes.
Major Hillgrove, a friend of Mr. and Mrs. Bashforth.
Mrs. Smallwood, under her breath, sympathetically.
Oh, dear.
Hillgrove, as Mrs. Minnett, leaving the front door open, creeps away along the passage. To Mrs. Smallwood.
A friend and neighbour. Your son and his wife have been kind enough to invite me to meet you and Mr. Smallwood here this afternoon.
Mrs. Smallwood, disconcerted.
Delighted.
Laying her handbag on the refectory table and taking off her gloves.
Pray don't stand.
Hillgrove resumes his seat as Smallwood enters, looking more lugubrious than ever. He is rather taken aback at seeing a stranger.
My husband.
Going to Smallwood and repeating with some exaggeration Mrs. Minnett's pantomime.
Major Walgrave, friend of Oliver's, asked to meet us.
Smallwood to Mrs. Smallwood.
Oh?
To Hillgrove.
How do you do, sir?
Are you Mr. Smallwood?
I am pleased to make your acquaintance.
Mrs. Smallwood throwing her gloves onto the refectory table and unbuttoning her coat.
My husband has been very much put out this afternoon, Major.
Exceedingly.
Mrs. Smallwood getting out of her coat with Smallwood's help.
Oh, I don't say he is not to blame. I don't say that for one moment. Whenever Mr. Smallwood is to blame, I never hesitate to tell him so.
Unwinding her scarf and giving it to Smallwood.
Thank you, Rupert.
Picking up her handbag and advancing to Hillgrove.
Since he brought the car down here unassisted a month ago, he has developed a regular craze, for driving it himself. Cookson, our chauffeur, Cookson's place has become an absolute sinecure.
Sitting in the chair on the right of the rounded table.
And today, Colonel, we have killed a dog.
Hillgrove wincing.
Indeed.
With tragic suddenness.
Opening her handbag.
A fox terrier with black spots.
Poor beast.
Smallwood, who having deposited Mrs. Smallwood's coat, etc., on the chair at the farther end of the refectory table, is now piling his own outdoor things on the chair on the right of the table.
The animal bore only the remotest resemblance to a terrier of any description. Grieved as I am to have inflicted pain upon its owner, the town of Godalming is the richer for the loss of such a mongrel.
Mrs. Smallwood, powdering her nose.
The inhabitants weren't of that opinion, evidently. The ferociousness they displayed towards us was most terrifying.
Smallwood, pacing the room in a state of agitation.
Bolshevism! Bolshevism! Arrant Bolshevism!
Mrs. Smallwood replacing her powder puff in her bag and tidying her hair.
But there, I have been destined all my life to be mixed up with bloodshed in one form or another. Cyril, my first husband, a veritable Nimrod. He once had the misfortune to shoot a boy. Peppered, I believe, is the correct expression.
Smallwood, raising his hands and groaning. Mrs. Smallwood, turning to him.
Eh?
Yes, peppered.
He once peppered a boy in the covers of Kittringham Abbey. Peacock, the lad's name was. Ernest Peacock. What a memory I have.
Shutting her bag.
Luckily, the wounds were superficial, and we afterwards used our influence to procure employment for him at a trade in which purple indentations in the face saw no hindrance to advancement.
Mr. and Mrs. Corsellis are seen in the doorway.
But has Ernest ever shown the smallest sign of gratitude? Not he. On the contrary, Colonel, on the contrary.
Hearing the Corsellises, who enter and turning in her chair.
Oh, Mrs. Cremelli, vicar.
Smallwood, to Mrs. Smallwood.
Corsellis.
Mrs. Corsellis, wrapped about her in her cape as before, and looking still more invalidish, shaking hands with Smallwood.
How do you do?
How are you, madam?
Shaking hands with Mrs. Smallwood, who has risen, while Smallwood shakes hands with Corsellis.
Such a joy to see you again.
Going to Hillgrove, who also rises, and shaking hands with him.
Major Hillgrove, too.
Mrs. Smallwood shaking hands with Corsellis, who comes to her.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
To Hillgrove.
How do you do, Major Hillgrove?
Ah, Rector.
Mrs. Smallwood to Corsellis, eyeing Mrs. Corsellis with concern.
Excuse me, you haven't dragged your wife all the way from Fittlehurst today on foot?
No. A worthy soul gave us a lift as far as the crossroads.
Mrs. Smallwood heaving a sigh of relief.
So I should hope.
Mrs. Corsellis bashfully. Corsellis tapping upon his teeth.
This is positively her last appearance for the present.
Mrs. Smallwood to Mrs. Corsellis, taking her arm as Corsellis wanders away and Hillgrove reseats himself.
He speaks of you as if you are a popular vocalist.
Putting her into the chair on the right of the round table.
For mercy's sake, sit down, dear lady.
Oh.
Smallwood coming forward.
This assemblage, if I may venture to say so, is rather an unexpected pleasure.
Mrs. Smallwood joining him.
Yes, we had no idea that my daughter-in-law was at home this afternoon to her entire little circle.
We were under the impression, the distinct impression,
that our visit was to be a family affair.
Purely a family affair.
Mrs. Smallwood with a gesture.
Perhaps, however.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
Looking for Corsellis.
Charles?
Corsellis advancing from behind the round table to the nearer end of the settee.
My good friends, if our presence here is in the least inopportune...
No.
We are ready to take our departure immediately.
To Mrs. Corsellis.
Eh, Jenny?
Nonsense. Find a chair, Rector.
I am sure I am equal to walking back to the village.
Heavens above!
Mrs. Corsellis, on the verge of tears.
I am. I could take it at a leap.
How easy it is to be misunderstood! I was about to remark that perhaps there is less risk of constraint in a cheery gathering of this sort.
Precisely.
That is what was in your son's mind, Mrs. Smallwood, and in Mrs. Bashforth's, when they invited me and Mr. and Mrs. Corsellis to meet you this afternoon.
Smallwood, throwing himself into the chair at the nearer end of the refectory table.
Precisely.
Mrs. Smallwood, sitting in the chair on the left of the refectory table.
If Oliver had been here to receive us, as was his duty.
Smallwood, as Corsellis sits on the edge of the chair on the extreme left.
Or the young person he has married.
Or the young person he has married, if either had been here to receive us.
And to explain.
This trifling misapprehension could not have arisen. But how like Oliver?
Where is he?
And if it comes to that, how like his father, my first husband, Cyril?
Where is he?
Mrs. Smallwood to Smallwood, raising her eyebrows.
Cyril?
No, Oliver.
With all his fine qualities, Oliver's father was woefully neglectful of social observances.
Your son is upstairs, Mrs. Smallwood.
Upstairs?
With Mrs. Bashforth. They are waiting for me to summon them.
Waiting for you?
Extraordinary.
They have deputed me to prepare you for a surprise. A great surprise. If you will be patient with me for a minute or two.
Surprise?
Smallwood, his hand to his forehead.
Good God, what is it now?
Mrs. Smallwood, I believe I am right in thinking that your son wrote to you on the eve of his marriage, informing you of the step he was about to take?
Mrs. Smallwood, closing her eyes.
Wrote to me.
Smallwood to Hillgrove.
Yes.
The bombshell fell upon us as we were starting out to dine with the Ecclestons, the Gordon Ecclestons in Eden Terrace. How I got through that dinner is a blank. What poor Mr. Chadwick, who took me down, a police magistrate and a most intelligent man. What he thought of me, I can't conceive.
Smallwood to Hillgrove.
We are interrupting you, sir.
To Mrs. Smallwood.
Violet.
Mrs. Smallwood to Hillgrove.
A surprise.
Don't be alarmed. An agreeable one. Let me tell you what has occurred.
Mrs. Smallwood with a sudden alertness.
You don't mean she has money?
Money?
The girl.
Why, no. She had barely enough to scrape along with decency.
Mrs. Smallwood throwing up her arms in despair.
Oh!
But her sweet, her charitable disposition. Miss Pennington, Mrs. Bashforth, that is, possesses virtues, dear Mrs. Smallwood, which are far above rubies.
To Corsellis.
Charles.
Corsellis rousing himself.
Eh? Oh, certainly. Of the vast number of young women it has been my lot to unite in the bounds of matrimony.
Disk! My son has thrown himself away, Vicar. Flung his prospects to the winds. Don't try to persuade me. You'll never succeed in doing so.
Smallwood to Hillgrove.
An agreeable surprise, sir.
No money and unsightly in the bargain. I can quote the words of Oliver's letter. Darling mother. I forget how it went, but he admits she has no looks to boast of. And when a man does that...
Stop! That brings us to the point, Mrs. Smallwood.
The quicker...
Smallwood stamping his foot at Mrs. Smallwood.
Shh.
When your son, in his letter to you, described Miss Pennington as being a plain young woman, he was strictly within the truth. In feature and physique, She was a plain young woman.
Mrs. Smallwood, ironically, none of them grasping the significance of his emphasis.
Was?
This is the course of events. After the simple wedding ceremony, they lunched at the rectory with our friends here.
To Mrs. Corsellis.
That is so, Mrs. Corsellis?
Mrs. Corsellis with a wriggle.
Cutlets and a humble gooseberry tart.
Corsellis groaning.
Oh.
Hillgrove to Corsellis.
Eh?
Corsellis, his head drooping.
I remember the children.
The children were exceptionally naughty during luncheon. Joan and Barbara would ask inconvenient questions.
When my children were at a tender age.
Then they went for a run in a motor car which Bashforth hired for the occasion, and shortly before dinner time, as I gather, he brought his bride home to this cottage.
For all the world, as though he were an agricultural labourer.
Smallwood to Hillgrove.
Well, sir?
Now please give me your close attention.
Extending a finger in the direction of the door.
Picture it. Bashforth and his wife entering at that door. He, the shattered, wry-necked, half-crippled fellow the war had left him. She, a little meagre, wasted thing whose only attraction was her gentle, appealing manner. You've got that?
Mrs. Smallwood, looking from one to the other in resentment.
Really,
May I ask, sir, without offence, exactly what you are driving at?
Mrs. Corsellis holding her heart.
Oh, dear.
Corsellis shifting in his chair.
I think that perhaps Jenny and I had better...
Stay where you are, Rector.
To everybody.
Listen.
Listen?
Almost as soon as they had crossed the threshold, the change began. The change began. It wasn't instantaneous. They are both in accord as to being gradual. That its completion was reached by stages.
Change?
Change?
It is doubtful whether its culmination has even yet been reached.
Rising and standing at his full height.
Rector, Mrs. Corsellis, Mr. and Mrs. Smallwood, do any of you believe in miracles? Modern miracles. Miracles that may happen to you, to me, today, tomorrow, that may relieve misfortune, retrieve disaster, alter the whole current of our lives, that may heal the sick, make the lame walk, and the blind see. If not, if you don't, an awakening is in store for you. For I tell you that this man and his wife have been touched by a power which is beyond earthly power, and are wonderfully, gloriously transformed.
There is a pause of a few seconds, during which the Smallwoods and the Corsellises exchange glances, partly of bewilderment, partly of perturbation. Smallwood, breaking the silence, blinking.
Transformed?
Transformed?
Charles?
Transformed?
With an effort, Mrs. Smallwood gets to her feet, whereupon Smallwood also rises. Smallwood to Hillgrove.
You are mystifying us, Major.
Corsellis rising.
Hillgrove.
I charge you with mystifying us, sir.
Shamefully.
Smallwood stalking across to Hillgrove as Mrs. Corsellis rises and totters to Mrs. Smallwood.
Transformed, sir? The pair of them?
The pair of them?
Yes. Mrs. Smallwood. Your son is no longer the wretched caricature of himself they sent you back from France. When you see him, you'll see again the straight, lissom chap who said good-bye to you at the end of his last leave. You'll find him as handsome as ever and as full of vigour and activity.
Mrs. Corsellis, clutching at Mrs. Smallwood.
Oh.
And his wife?
My daughter-in-law?
A beautiful creature. A beautiful creature with health and strength written in the warm bloom on her cheeks. The colour of a ripe cherry, her husband likens it to, and in the splendid shapeliness of her form, with music in every sound she breathes, and, my ear teaches me, grace in every movement of her body. Such an example, I guess, of nature's grandest gift to humankind, as should make one bow one's head in humility. That is your daughter-in-law, Mrs. Smallwood.
Suddenly Mrs. Corsellis, overcome by faintness, flops against Mrs. Smallwood. Mrs. Smallwood supporting her.
Oh, bother! Hold up, dear lady. If anybody gives way, it ought to be me.
Putting her into the chair at the nearer end of the refectory table.
Vicar!
To Smallwood, pointing to her handbag.
Smelling salts! My bag!
Corsellis, going to Mrs. Corsellis in terror.
Oh, Jenny, wait.
Clasping his hands.
Not here, Jenny, not here.
Mrs. Smallwood, who has grabbed her bag from Smallwood and produced from it a bottle of salts, pushing Corsellis aside and holding the bottle to Mrs. Corsellis's nose.
Don't be foolish, man.
Smallwood to Mrs. Corsellis.
Collect yourself, madam. Collect yourself, I beg.
To Hillgrove, mastering his excitement with difficulty.
My stepson and his wife are upstairs, sir.
Hillgrove nodding.
We are to strike the gong by the front door, when they are to come down.
Resuming his seat on the settee.
Strike it loudly. They've shut themselves in.
Smallwood to Mrs. Smallwood.
Riot.
Mrs. Smallwood to Mrs. Corsellis, bending over her.
How do you feel?
Corsellis on the other side of Mrs. Corsellis, the side nearest the window.
Jenny?
Mrs. Corsellis recovering by degrees. Smallwood to Mrs. Corsellis.
If you would prefer to retire, madam, a course which I am inclined to recommend.
Mrs. Corsellis adjusting her hat.
No, please allow me to remain. A momentary faintness, nothing more.
Smallwood to Mrs. Smallwood.
Shall I strike the gong, then?
Mrs. Smallwood laying her bag on the refectory table.
I will.
By all means.
His mother.
She goes to the gong, attempts to strike it, and falters. Then she turns to Smallwood and offers him the drumstick nervously.
Rupert.
He accepts the drumstick with a dignified inclination of his head and brandishes it in preparation. Mrs. Smallwood sinks into the chair on the left of the refectory table and sniffs her salts. Smallwood to the Corsellises.
Are you ready?
They weakly signify assent.
You are ready, Violet?
Quite.
Pulling himself together, he strides to the gong and beats it long and noisily. Then he hurriedly replaces the drumstick and retreats to the farther end of the refectory table. A hush falls upon them all. Hillgrove sits immobile, his hands resting on his knees. Mrs. Smallwood, after a while.
Why don't they make haste?
Smallwood watching the stairs.
Shh, shh, shh.
A remarkable family, mine. A remarkable family. My Aunt Priscilla, bedridden for years, rose and walked to the window to view the Jubilee procession in '97.
Smallwood is napping at her.
Yes.
Mrs. Smallwood is sniffing her salts.
Even if they are exaggerating slightly, it's amazing. Amazing.
Jenny.
Oliver was always prone to exaggeration. So was his father before him. Cyril, my first husband, couldn't speak the truth if he tried.
Smallwood, scowling at her.
Latterly, he gave up trying.
To Hillgrove.
Have they been seen by any of the people hereabouts, Colonel? The villagers? The yokels?
No. They've been concealing themselves. Lying close.
The servant. What's the name of the eccentric individual? Mrs. Meadows.
Mrs. Minnett?
They can't avoid her. How does she take the change in them?
Silence!
Turning away.
Here they are.
Again there is a short pause, and then the real Oliver and Laura descend the stairs, the poor wreck of a man and the uncomely young woman of the first act. Their very garments appear to have lost their smartness and to be hanging upon them limply and dejectedly, and altogether they are a most pathetic spectacle. Slowly and self-consciously they advance to the middle of the inner hall, Mr. and Mrs. Smallwood and the Corsellises staring at them aghast. Oliver presenting Laura to Mrs. Smallwood with a sheepish pride.
My wife, Matter. I hope you and she will be tremendous pals.
To Smallwood.
Step, this is Laura.
Greeting the Corsellises as he moves towards Hillgrove.
How are you, Mrs. Corsellis? How are you, Rector?
Mrs. Smallwood, giving Laura her hand shrinkingly.
How do you do?
It is so kind of you to come and see me.
To Smallwood, who, to obtain a closer view of Laura, intrudes himself between her and Mrs. Smallwood.
And you, Mr. Smallwood.
Giving him her hand.
Thank you.
Going to the Corsellises, and kissing Mrs. Corsellis, who rises unsteadily.
Dear Mrs. Corsellis.
Shaking hands with Corsellis.
Rector?
Oliver to the Smallwoods, Mrs. Smallwood having laid her smelling bottle on the refectory table, and risen and joined Smallwood, whose arm she is clutching, smiling rather fatuously.
Well, mother, well. Step, this is a rum business, isn't it?
There is no response. Mr. and Mrs. Smallwood and the Corsellises continue to gaze at him, and Laura, open-mouthed.
No wonder you were a bit knocked over.
Beginning to swagger a little.
Major Hillgrove has explained, I suppose, the way it's all happened.
Happened, Ollie?
The change in us, in Laura and myself. Did you ever know anything so marvelous?
Growing impatient.
Confound it, mother. You can't judge of the alteration in my wife, of course, but the difference in me. You'd hardly credit that your son had been badly crocked, would you?
My dear boy, I...
Smallwood stopping her. Shh. Giving her a significant look. Shh. To Oliver in the tone one uses to humor a sick or insane person.
Yes, yes, the change is most marked, Oliver, most marked.
Marked? Is that all you've got to say?
To the Corsellises.
Mrs. Corsellis, Rector, you can be a little more expansive, I hope. Ha! You see a change in us that's a little more than marked, don't you?
Pointing to Laura.
Laura, there. Isn't she perfectly beautiful? Mrs. Corsellis.
Mrs. Corsellis clinging to Corsellis.
Oh.
Corsellis shaking her. Shh. Looking at her significantly. Shh. To Oliver.
there certainly is, a slight change, Mr. Bashforth.
Slight?
Laura, with parted lips and wide-open eyes, crossing to Oliver.
Oliver!
As Laura goes to Oliver, Mr. and Mrs. Smallwood and the Corsellises, in an access of panic, hurriedly move to the farther end of the refectory table, where Mrs. Smallwood, assisted by Smallwood, scrambles into her outdoor things. Oliver, turning to them.
What?
We are very sorry, my pet, that we're obliged to run away.
Putting on her scarf.
This is only a flying visit.
Just to have a glimpse of you and your wife.
But...
Mrs. Smallwood, thrusting her arms into her coat sleeves.
An old promise of Rupert's. He's taking me to Bognor.
To Bognor.
Mrs. Smallwood, as Smallwood squeezes past the Corsellises to get at his overcoat, etc.
Your stepfather hasn't been to Bognor for an age.
Smallwood hastily attiring himself.
Not since I was a chubby apple-faced urchin.
Mrs. Smallwood, gathering up her smelling bottle, gloves, and handbag, and approaching Laura and Oliver, who, astounded, are standing motionless.
Goodbye, my dears.
Shaking Laura's hand.
Every happiness attend you both.
Kissing Oliver.
I'll write you soon, darling.
Glaring at Hillgrove.
Good afternoon, General.
She makes way for Smallwood and goes to the Corsellises and whispers to them. Smallwood shaking Laura's hand and then Oliver's.
Goodbye. Accept my warm felicitations.
To Hillgrove.
I wish you good day, sir.
Mrs. Smallwood, as Smallwood turns from Laura and Oliver.
Mr. and Mrs. Carthew are coming with us, Rupert.
The Corsellises advance to Laura and Oliver as Smallwood and Mrs. Smallwood creep to the front door. Smallwood, as he and Mrs. Smallwood go out, breathing deeply.
Bognor.
Corsellis, shaking Laura's hand timorously.
It will save Jenny a toilsome trudge.
Shaking Oliver's hand.
Goodbye.
With a gesture of bewilderment.
Good afternoon, Major Hillgrove.
Mrs. Corsellis, as Corsellis turns to the door, throwing her arms round Laura's neck.
I don't care. If you were stark raving mad, you should be godmother to my next.
To Oliver.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bashforth.
To Hillgrove.
Good afternoon, Major.
She flutters after Corsellis, and they follow the Smallwoods. Again there is a short pause. Oliver and Laura stand staring at one another in utter stupefaction. Oliver breaking the silence.
Mad.
Laura nodding.
They think we're lunatics.
Daft.
Demented.
Oliver leaving her and hobbling about excitedly.
Why should they? I don't understand.
Waving his arms.
What's the meaning of their behavior? What the hell's the meaning of it?
She runs to him to restrain him, and he grips her wrists and gazes into her face with ardor.
You're beautiful.
Laura returning his gaze.
You're handsome.
Oliver embracing her.
Mad, are we?
Pressing his lips to hers passionately, and then holding her at arm's length.
Well, if we're mad, by God, we're not blind.
Laura clapping her hand to his mouth and glancing at Hillgrove.
Shh!
The motor horn sounds a warning note. Then at intervals the hoots are repeated till the distance swallows them up. Hillgrove has been sitting with strained ears and a slowly dawning look of consternation. He now rises, and advancing a step, stretches out his hands towards Laura.
Mrs. Bashforth? Laura.
Laura going to him.
Yes?
Hillgrove touching her hair.
Let me.
Laura in assent.
Yes.
Tremblingly but carefully he passes his hands over her face, lingering at every feature. Then in like manner he feels her arms from her shoulders downward. The last hoot of the motor horn is heard as he releases her and puts her from him.
Major Hillgrove?
Oliver coming to her.
Hillgrove?
I'm beautiful, am I not?
Hillgrove, his chin on his breast.
Don't ask me. Don't ask me.
Laura recoiling.
But, you hear, Hillgrove.
You hear?
Damn it, Hillgrove. You don't imply that my wife and I have been lying to you.
Major Hillgrove!
Heaven forbid. But it is evident that we're under an illusion.
Illusion?
Illusion?
A strange illusion.
Suddenly they all turn their heads in the direction of the kitchen and listen intently.
What's that?
Somebody cried out.
Mrs. Minnett.
Hark!
She's moving about.
In the passage.
Spying?
She may be ill again.
Oliver limping towards the passage.
Curse!
Laura following him and detaining him.
No!
Pulling him back.
I'm frightened.
Oliver, the thought flashing through him, facing her.
The witch!
The witch?
The witch!
Bashforth?
Eh?
Ring. Ring the bell.
Ring?
Ring for the woman.
Oliver goes to the fireplace and presses the bell push. Laura leans for support against the nearer end of the refectory table. Oliver, in a moment or two, by the smoking table.
She's coming.
Presently Mrs. Minnett appears and stands in the middle of the arched opening. Mrs. Minnett to Laura.
Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Minnett?
Sir?
Come here.
Mrs. Minnett advances slowly and painfully. As she does so, Oliver tiptoes over to Laura and puts his hand on hers.
Mrs. Minnett, answer me. You have known Mrs. Bashforth as Miss Pennington for a long time?
Mrs. Minnett, her head bowed, her hands clasped tightly in front of her.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Bashforth for some months?
Yes, sir.
So, before their marriage, you were thoroughly familiar with their appearance?
Yes, sir.
Cast your mind back to their wedding day, a little over a week ago. It's clear in your memory?
Yes, sir.
I recollect you gave me a few details of it yesterday. You can recall their homecoming with the utmost distinctness?
Yes, sir.
Attend. When they entered this cottage, you were at the door to receive them, weren't you?
Yes, sir.
When they entered this cottage, they were as you had always known them?
Yes, sir.
Now, after they had been in the house a little while, did you observe anything in the nature of a change in them?
Mrs. Minnett is silent.
Mrs. Minnett?
They were very quiet, sir, soft in their manner of speaking, timid-like.
Yes, but in their outward appearance, their looks.
Another silence.
Mrs. Minnett?
Mrs. Minnett, darting a pitiful glance at Oliver and Laura, and then lowering her head again.
No, sir.
Not after they had dined and were sitting cosily together?
No, sir.
Nor the next morning when they came down to breakfast?
No, sir.
You've noticed no alteration since then?
She shakes her head.
Eh?
No, sir.
Look at Mr. and Mrs. Bashforth, Mrs. Minnett.
Mrs. Minnett doesn't stir.
Are you looking?
With an effort, she turns her eyes upon Oliver and Laura. They draw themselves up stiffly to confront her.
Tell us, are they still as you have always known them?
Mrs. Minnett resuming her former attitude.
Yes, sir.
No change?
She lifts her arms feebly, and then drops them by her side.
Eh?
None, sir.
Hillgrove, controlling his emotion, to Oliver.
Have you any questions to put to Mrs. Minnett, old chap?
Oliver, dazed.
I? No.
Mrs. Minnett is dragging herself away when she halts and addresses Oliver and Laura.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry, ma'am. I knew you had to find out the truth this afternoon, and it nearly broke me.
Laura clinging to Oliver.
Thank you.
Mrs. Minnett bringing herself erect.
And yet, what is there to be sorry for?
Going to them and peering into their faces.
Pardon me for the liberty. Shall I let you into the secret?
Her eyes gleaming.
Shall I?
Laura shrinking from her.
Yes.
You love each other. And the man and woman in love have a gift of sight that's not granted to other folk.
Rubbing her hands together.
I've watched you from the beginning, and on the day of your wedding I saw your love blaze up like dry kindling wood when you set a match to it. Keep your love burning. Keep it burning, and I promise you'll never be anything to one another but fair and bonny.
Throwing up her arms wildly and beating her brow.
Scarecrow that I am, if my man could rise out of his grave and walk in at this minute, I should be pretty to him.
Walking with a swaying gait to the passage, her voice dying to a moan.
Pretty to him.
Laura calling to her.
Mrs. Minnett?
As Mrs. Minnett disappears, running after her.
Mrs. Minnett!
Again there is a pause, during which the two men are still as statues. And then Oliver rouses himself. Oliver to Hillgrove.
Well, no fault of yours, Hillgrove. No fault of yours.
Hillgrove smiling, but with a touch of sadness. Groping on the round table for his hat and stick.
Very good of you.
Are you off?
Yes. Rigg was to have fetched me later on, but I'll get back.
Finding his hat and stick.
Is there anyone about the place who will lend me an arm?
Laura and I will take you. No reason now why we shouldn't show ourselves, Hillgrove.
Poor Laura. Poor little woman.
Laura returns, with tear-filled eyes but smiling sweetly. She comes to Oliver and lays her head upon his breast. Oliver patting her shoulder.
Buck up, old lady, buck up. Run upstairs and put your hat on.
Laura raising her head.
My hat?
We're convoying Hillgrove across the park, you and I. We needn't sneak about in the dusk any longer.
Seeing a look of extreme lassitude in her face.
You're tired.
Laura nodding drowsily.
So weary, Ollie. Those stupid dreams last night, and then this. I'll rest on the sofa and be lively for you by the time you're home.
Turning to Hillgrove, who has felt his way towards them, and slipping her hand in his.
Major Hillgrove?
Forgive me. Forgive me.
Shh, dear friend.
Hillgrove kissing her hand.
Goodbye.
Till tomorrow.
After a moment's hesitation, brushing his cheek with her lips.
Till tomorrow.
To Oliver.
Don't hurry. I shan't be lonely.
Tapping the floor with his stick, Hillgrove cautiously makes for the open door. While he is doing so, Oliver leads Laura to the settee, and there they talk in subdued tones to the accompaniment of the tap, tap, tap of Hillgrove's stick. Oliver gazing at her fondly.
Sweetheart?
Laura smiling at him.
Yes?
After all, what does it matter?
Tap, tap.
What the devil does it matter?
Tap, tap.
As poor Mrs. Minnett would be to her husband, were he alive.
Tap, tap, tap.
You're pretty to me. You are pretty to me.
And you, Oliver.
Tap, tap.
You'll always, always be handsome to me.
She glances at Hillgrove. He has reached the door and is standing in the sunlight, his face to the garden.
Ollie?
Eh?
Laura holding the lapels of his jacket.
Ollie, if there's a child, there's a chance that it will be beautiful, isn't there?
A chance? A certainty.
Laura with worshipping eyes.
Because of you. Because of you.
If it's a girl, it'll be the most beautiful thing in creation. If it's a boy, the rippingest kid that ever breathed.
Laura contentedly sitting. She curls herself up on the settee, and he arranges the pillows under her head.
I'll draw the curtains to keep the light from you, shall I?
Laura shutting her eyes.
My love.
Oliver, after a pause, surveying her.
Happy?
Laura half asleep already.
Happy.
He goes to the window quietly and draws the curtains. Then, having snatched a cap from one of the hooks on the entrance hall and selected a stick from the vase, he guides Hillgrove into the garden. He returns almost immediately to close the door, which he does with a final, satisfied look at Laura. Both the entrance hall and the inner hall are now in semi-darkness. Soon the air is charged with music again, and once more the stars shine and twinkle on the walls, to be quenched as before by the pallid glow of dreamland. And presently the curtains are parted, and the figure appears of a nurse carrying a tiny baby. The nurse has angel's wings, and the face, radiant in glory, of Mrs. Minnett. Crossing to Laura with soundless steps, she places the baby reverently in the arms of the sleeping woman. End of Act 3. End of The Enchanted Cottage by Arthur Wing Pinero.